The text came while I was sitting in the inn parking lot with 2 lemon cakes in the back seat and 38 years of my marriage packed into a cedar-colored photo box beside them. Rain hammered the windshield so hard, the people under the covered entrance looked like figures moving behind shower glass. My phone buzzed in the cup holder. Brooke. Rain plan. Wait in your car until the family photos are done. Nathan will text when we're ready for the albums and cakes. I read it twice. Then I enlarged the message, though the words were already perfectly clear. Through the water running down the glass, I could make out Brooke's mother in a cream pantsuit. Brooke's sisters stood beside their husbands. The photographer waved Nathan toward the middle. My son looked across the parking lot. He knew my car. He had driven it the month before when he said my brakes felt a little grandmotherly, whatever that meant. For one suspended second, his face turned directly toward me. Then Brooke reached for his arm, and he stepped beneath the awning with the rest of the family. That morning, I had gotten up at 6 because lemon cake behaves better when nobody is talking to it. My husband Jack used to say I baked like I was defusing a bomb. No radio, no phone calls, no unnecessary cabinet slamming. He would wander in anyway, open the refrigerator, and ask dangerous questions like whether we needed the milk I had just measured. Jack had been gone 5 years, but I still caught myself saving the first crooked slice for him. I made 2 cakes because Brooke had asked for 2, though 12 adults did not need that much dessert, unless the anniversary celebration included a competitive eating event she hadn't mentioned. One was glazed. The other had powdered sugar stenciled across the top in a pattern of leaves. Brooke liked things to look accidental after considerable effort. At 7:15, she called while I was washing the zester. "Please tell me you're not already baking," she said. "I could tell you that." "You are, aren't you?" "No, I'm at a nightclub. Ellen. The DJ is excellent." She laughed, but only briefly, as if laughter was another item she had scheduled for later. "Just don't put them in anything floral," she said. "The cake stands at the inn are simple white. I was planning to bring them in the pans." There was a pause. "You're kidding." "I am." "I do know how cakes travel, Brooke." "I know you do. I'm just in event brain." Event brain was Brooke's name for the condition that made other people responsible for preventing her anxiety. "What time are you leaving?" she asked. "Around 10. That gives me plenty of time. Photos start at 2 sharp. We need everyone dressed by 1:30. I'll be there. And you found the silver knife?" "It's already wrapped." "And the albums?" "By the front door?" "Perfect." Nathan wants that picture of Jack in the brown suit for his toast. That narrows it down to most of the 70s. Another short laugh. "You know which one." I did. Jack was 28 in that photograph, leaning against the hood of a car he couldn't afford, looking at the camera like it had just challenged him personally. Nathan had always loved it. When he was in college, he kept a copy taped above his desk, though he would have died before admitting that to any of his friends. "I have it," I said. "Wonderful. This is going to mean so much to him." That sentence kept me pleasant through the rest of the call. Brooke was not always difficult. That would have been simpler. Difficult people can be placed in a clearly labeled drawer. Brooke could be generous in ways that startled me. The winter after Jack died, she arrived with clean sheets, changed my bed without asking, and sat on the floor of my closet while I decided which of his shirts I could bear to give away. She never once told me to take my time. She understood I already was. But she also once rearranged my Thanksgiving table while I was in the bathroom because my centerpiece was interrupting the sightlines. My son loved her competence. He said she could land a plane with a butter knife and a stern email. He loved that she remembered confirmation numbers, carried stain remover, and never got lost. What he did not love was standing between 2 women who disagreed. Nathan treated conflict the way some people treat an unfamiliar dog. No sudden movements, don't make eye contact, and perhaps it will choose someone else. I loaded the cakes into the back seat after wrapping each stand in a bath towel. The photo box went on the floor behind the passenger seat, where it couldn't slide. Inside were 4 albums Brooke had requested, along with loose photographs I had sorted into envelopes. The silver cake knife lay in my purse, wrapped in one of Jack's old handkerchiefs. I had nearly forgotten it until Marcy called the night before. "Mom, please tell me you found the knife," my daughter said instead of hello. "Why is everyone worried I've lost this knife?" Because Brooke sent a group text at 11:47. I silenced the group after 9. "You're the smartest one of us. I'm the oldest. It only looks like intelligence from far away." Marcy lowered her voice. "She's wound tight. She wants the weekend to be nice. She wants the weekend to be admissible as evidence." I laughed. "Behave. I am behaving. I bought a beige dress. Cream. It's beige with a publicist. Brooke had sent the clothing palette 3 weeks earlier. Cream, soft brown, sage, muted gold. The message included a small block of colors, as though we were repainting a tasteful hotel lobby. I had already bought my dress by then. Deep blue, long sleeves, nothing flashy. I'd tried it on alone at a department store and heard Jack's voice in my head saying, "There she is." Brooke's response had been careful. "Very pretty. Do you have something closer to the palette for photos?" I told her I had a cream shawl. She replied with a heart and, "Let's make that work." I should have heard the little door closing in those words. Instead, I steamed the shawl. At 10 past 10, I backed out of my driveway. The sky had turned the color of old silver, but the forecast said the rain would hold until evening. Brooke had repeated that prediction for a week with the confidence of someone who believed weather could be shamed into cooperation. The drive took a little over 2 hours. I stopped once for coffee and immediately regretted it when I saw the line for the restroom. By the time I got back on the highway, the first drops had started. Nathan called through the car speakers. "Where are you, Ma?" "Near exit 84. You're making good time. I'm driving the speed limit, so don't sound surprised." "I'm never surprised." "That is not what your hair looked like the first time I walked in on you with a girlfriend." "Okay, great talk." I smiled. "How are you?" He exhaled, and beneath the road noise I heard voices, a door closing, somebody calling his name. "You know," he said, "anniversary weekend, you've been married 15 years. At this point, the ending has been spoiled. Tell Brooke that. I value my life." He laughed. His laugh was Jack's, though Nathan didn't know it. Not the sound exactly, the way it arrived late after he had tried not to give in. "Seriously," I said. "You all right?" "Yeah. She just wants everything to go well. It will. Her mom's already here. Her sisters are getting ready. Marcy texted that she's 20 minutes out. Good. And you have Dad's pictures? 4 albums and the loose ones. You're the best." There it was. The phrase he used when I had done something for him. You're the best. It warmed me every time, which was probably why I kept earning it. "Drive safe," he said. "Love you." "Love you too." The rain thickened 10 minutes from the inn. Cars slowed. Windshield wipers whipped back and forth, barely keeping up. The inn sat on a low hill surrounded by gardens that looked beautiful online and mostly horizontal in the storm. Water rushed along the curb. A young man in a green jacket stood near the entrance holding an umbrella over arriving guests, but the wind kept turning it inside out. I pulled into a space near the far end of the front lot because the closer ones were full. Brooke's parents' white SUV was parked under the porte cochere. Marcy's car wasn't there yet. I checked the time. 1:43. My makeup had survived the drive. My hair had not, but the rain could take credit for the rest. I reached into my purse for lipstick, then stopped when my phone buzzed. "Rain plan. Wait in your car until the family photos are done." I looked toward the entrance again. More people had gathered beneath the wide stone awning. The photographer was setting up 2 tall lights inside the glass doors, where the lobby opened onto a staircase. This was not Brooke's side being photographed before mine arrived. I was there. Her father stood beside Nathan. Her mother adjusted Brooke's collar. One of Brooke's brothers-in-law held a comb for the other. Brooke's oldest sister spotted something on her husband's sleeve and licked her thumb before rubbing it off. He endured this with the patience of a man who had been married a long time. They looked ridiculous and familiar and entirely like a family. My phone rang. "Marcy." "Where are you?" she asked. "In the parking lot. I'm on the access road. This rain is insane. Be careful. Are they moving the photos inside?" Yes. Thank God. I spent $40 on this blowout, and it's hanging on by faith. She kept talking, but I barely heard her. Nathan had stepped toward the glass doors, away from the group. He took his phone from his pocket. For one hopeful second, I thought he was calling me. Then he looked at the screen, put the phone away, and turned when Brooke said something. Even through the rain, I recognized the small movement of his shoulders. A shrug, not a dramatic one. Just enough to say, "What can you do?" "Mom?" Marcy said. "You there?" "Yes." "What did Brooke text you?" "Nothing important." There are lies that protect other people, and lies that protect the version of yourself you are not ready to lose. I wasn't sure which kind that was. "Okay, I'm pulling in," Marcy said. "I'll see you in a second." Her gray sedan appeared at the entrance to the lot. The young man with the broken umbrella waved her toward a space near the building. She parked, gathered her dress, and ran laughing beneath the awning while he tried to shield her. Brooke kissed her cheek. Nathan hugged his sister. Nobody pointed toward my car. The photographer began arranging them on the staircase. Brooke's parents sat in front. Her siblings filled in behind them. Marcy, still smoothing rain from her hair, was guided to Nathan's other side. My daughter glanced toward the parking lot. I lowered my phone and sat back before she could see it glowing in my hand. The engine was still running. Warm air blew against my ankles. The cakes waited behind me, and Jack's silver knife pressed against the side of my purse. I could have walked in. I could have forced them to explain the word family while looking at my face. Instead, I put the car in reverse. My phone began ringing before I reached the bottom of the hill. I let it ring. At the intersection, the light turned red, though there wasn't another car in sight. My phone stopped, paused, and started again. Marcy's name filled the dashboard screen. I pressed decline. The light changed. I turned onto the 2-lane road that led back toward the highway, driving slowly because water had gathered along the shoulders. In the rearview mirror, the inn disappeared behind a curtain of rain. My phone rang a third time. Nathan. I gripped the wheel and watched his name pulse in front of me. On the 5th ring, I answered through the car speakers. "Ma, where are you?" "Driving." "I know." "Marcy said she saw your car leaving." "Where are you going?" "Home." "What do you mean, home?" I almost laughed. It was a ridiculous question from a 43-year-old man. "I mean the house where I live." "Mom, come on. Turn around." A truck passed in the opposite lane, spraying a sheet of water across my windshield. I waited until I could see again. "I'm not turning around." "Why?" I glanced at the dashboard as if his face might be there instead of his name. "You need me to tell you?" There was a pause. Not a long one, just long enough. "Is this about Brooke's text?" "Yes." She worded that badly. I kept driving. "Mom, I'm here." The photographer had to change everything at the last minute. It's chaos. They're trying to get the big group shots done in the lobby before the afternoon guests start checking in. I saw the group, so you understand. I saw Brooke's parents, her sisters, their husbands, Marcy, you. Right. That's what I'm saying. They were getting those pictures done, and then we were going to bring you in. After the family photos. No, not after the family photos. After those photos. That isn't what she wrote. She was rushing. What did she mean when she told me to wait in my car? He breathed out hard. It's raining. I noticed. There's nowhere for everyone to stand inside without blocking the lobby. Brooke thought it would be easier. For whom? A second truck went by. I could hear Nathan moving, a door opening and shutting near him. The background voices vanished. "Can we not do this while you're driving?" he asked. "You called me. Because you left." "Yes." Without saying anything, I received my instructions. "Mom, don't be like that." I had heard those words from him at 12, at 27, at his wedding rehearsal when Brooke changed the seating chart and moved me away from Jack because her aunt wanted our table. Don't be like that meant my reaction had become inconvenient before its cause had been examined. "What would you like me to be like?" I asked. "I'd like you to turn around and let us fix this." "How?" We'll take the photos. With the family? You are family. Then why am I 6 miles away? He didn't answer immediately. The road ahead curved between wet fields, their fence posts leaning at different angles, as if each had formed a private opinion. "Brooke's crying," he said. That surprised me enough to take my foot off the gas. "Why?" "Because she thinks you hate her." I drove away from an inn, Nathan. I didn't burn down her village. This weekend means a lot to her. I know. I've spent 3 weeks helping with it, and we appreciate that, do you? Yes. The answer came quickly. He had always been good at the quick answer. "Sorry, Ma." "Of course, Ma, you're the best." Little bridges tossed over any crack before someone looked down. "Then go back inside," I said. "Your wife is crying, and my mother is driving home in a storm. You decided which one required you before you called. That's not fair." Maybe it wasn't. Fairness is a clean word, and families are not clean places. But I had seen him look toward my car. I had watched him put away his phone. "Turn around," he said again, softer this time. "Please." The word almost did it. Nathan had not pleaded with me since Jack's funeral, when he asked me to stay at his house for a few nights, and I refused because I could not imagine sleeping anywhere Jack had never slept. I pictured pulling back into the lot, Brooke rushing forward, her face damp in a way the rain could explain, Nathan carrying in the cakes, everyone shifting on the staircase while the photographer watched the clock. I would put on my cream shawl. I would smile. The photograph would prove nothing had happened. "No," I said. "Why are you making this bigger than it is?" There it was. I took the next entrance ramp without answering. Nathan said my name twice, the second time with an edge in it. "I need to concentrate on the highway," I said. "Fine. Call me when you get home." "I will." "And Mom?" "Yes?" "Please don't call anybody else about this until we talk." A laugh escaped me then. One short, ugly sound. "What's funny?" "Nothing. I just don't want this becoming a whole family drama because of one awkward text. Go take your pictures, Nathan." I ended the call. For the next 20 miles, nobody called. That was worse. The rain settled into a steady gray roar, and the wipers squeaked at the end of every pass. I became fixated on the sound. Squeak, sweep, squeak, sweep. Jack would have replaced the blades 2 months earlier. He believed windshield wipers were a moral test. At exit 91, I pulled into a service plaza because my hands had begun to shake. I parked beneath a light that had come on early in the dark afternoon. Families and couples ran between their cars and the building, holding newspapers and jackets above their heads. A man in shorts walked calmly through the rain, eating a pretzel. There was something comforting about his complete refusal to dress for either the weather or the season. I turned off the engine. The sudden quiet was so complete that I heard icing slide. I twisted around. The leaf-patterned cake had shifted against its towel. A pale section of glaze clung to the inside of the carrier lid like plaster. "Of course," I said. My phone showed 8 missed calls. 4 from Marcy, 2 from Nathan, 2 from Brooke. There were also 11 messages in the anniversary group. I opened none of them. Brooke had left a voicemail. I listened because sometimes we touch the bruise just to confirm it hurts. "Ellen, hi. Nathan says you left. I'm so sorry if my message sounded abrupt. Everything changed because of the rain, and I had about 5 people asking me questions at once. We were trying to finish the formal combinations as quickly as possible. Obviously, we expected you to be in the photos. We're all just confused. Also, the inn has no backup dessert besides some cookies, so we really do need the cakes. Please call me." There was a tiny pause before the last sentence, as if she had considered changing the order and decided not to. Marcy's voicemail came next. "Mom, what happened? Nathan is acting weird, and Brooks locked herself in the bathroom. I saw you leave, but everybody keeps saying you misunderstood. Call me. I'm not taking anybody's side. I just want to know what happened." I deleted neither message. For several minutes, I watched rain turn the parking lot lights into fuzzy yellow halos. Then I got out, ran into the plaza, and bought a coffee I did not want. The woman at the register looked at my dress beneath my raincoat. "Wedding?" she asked. Anniversary. Yours? No. Good, she said. You don't look happy enough. I stared at her. She raised both hands. That came out wrong. It came out accurate. She gave me an extra packet of sugar. Back in the car, I called Marcy. She answered before the first ring finished. Mom? I'm fine. Where are you? At a service plaza. Which one? Why? Are you sending a search party? I might. What happened? You read the text. Brooke showed it to me. Did she? She feels terrible. Does she? Mom. There it was again. My title instead of my name, stretched to mean be reasonable. What did she say happened? I asked. That the schedule changed. The photographer wanted to start with the anniversary couple and Brooke's family while they were all in place. You were in place. She grabbed me when I came through the door. So you were in the family photo. I don't think it was the main one. Was Nathan in it? Silence. Marcy? Yes. Were you standing beside him? Yes, but that was because the photographer. And where was I? I didn't know you were sitting in the parking lot. If I had known, I would have come out. The answer was so immediate, I believed her. I called you, she said. You said you were on the access road. I didn't want you trying to have an argument while driving. So you said the message was nothing important? Yes. That was stupid. Yes. She sighed. Can you bring the cakes back, at least? I closed my eyes. The request was not cruel. That almost made it worse. In Marcy's mind, we could separate the practical problem from the emotional one. The cakes belonged to the event even if I no longer did. No, they don't have dessert. There are cookies. Brooke ordered those for the welcome bags. Then the welcome bags are about to become very popular. Mom, please, I'm not saying you have to stay. I can meet you somewhere. Nathan can pick them up. Is that why you called? No. I called because you left, and now everybody's upset. I was upset before I left. I know that. Do you? Another silence. Softer this time. I'm trying, she said. I looked back at the cakes. The ruined section of glaze had begun to slump down the side. I'm going home, Marcy. What am I supposed to tell them? Whatever you saw. I didn't see anything. That's the problem. She inhaled sharply. That isn't fair to me. No, I said. It isn't. I'm sorry. My apology startled both of us. I should have told you, I continued, but I wasn't ready to hear you explain it. I'm not explaining it. You asked for the cakes. That's not the same thing. It feels the same from here. Someone knocked on Marcy's end, followed by Brooke calling her name. I have to go, she said. I know. Call me when you're home. All right. And Mom? Yes? I like the blue dress. I had forgotten I was wearing it. Thank you, I said. The call ended. I drove the rest of the way without answering anyone. The storm eased near home, leaving the streets shiny and covered with torn leaves. My house looked exactly as I had left it. Porch light off, bedroom curtains open, one ceramic planter tipped sideways by the wind. I carried the cakes in first. The damaged one left a sticky crescent on my sleeve. I set both on the kitchen counter. The photo box came next. I placed it on the dining table, where sunlight usually fell across Jack's face in the brown suit photograph. Last, I took the silver knife from my purse and unwrapped it. Our names were engraved on the handle. Ellen and Jack. June 14th. I washed it even though it wasn't dirty, dried it carefully, and returned it to the drawer. My phone rang again. This time, Brooke's name appeared. I stood in my quiet kitchen with the cakes nobody needed until they did, and answered. Ellen, she said, already breathless, can you please help me understand what you thought was going to happen today? I looked at the rainwater dripping from my blue hem onto the floor. I thought I said that I was coming to a family celebration. You were, Brooke said. The answer came so quickly it sounded rehearsed. I was what? Coming to a family celebration. Then why was I told to sit in my car? I didn't tell you to sit there all afternoon. I asked you to wait while we got through a few combinations. You said until the family photos were done. because those were the family photos we were taking at that moment. I pulled out a dining chair and sat. The damp fabric of my dress clung to the backs of my knees. What would you have called the pictures I was going to be in? Ellen, I am not doing word games with you. I'm asking a simple question, and I am telling you there was a schedule. My parents, my sisters, their husbands, and then Nathan's side. That's how the photographer organized it. Nathan was in the pictures with your side. He's my husband. And Marcy? She came through the door soaked. I put her where the photographer told me to put her, which was beside Nathan. Would you have preferred I tell her she wasn't allowed? The question sat between us. Brooke was good at that. She could take the knife out of her own hand and place it in yours before you noticed you were holding anything sharp. No, I said. I would have preferred you tell the photographer that Nathan's mother was in the parking lot. I thought you'd be more comfortable waiting in the car than standing around in a crowded lobby while everyone was scrambling. In the rain. You were inside your car. I know where I was. Then why do you keep saying in the rain like I left you on the side of the road? The old me would have heard the strain in her voice and begun helping her. I would have softened my tone. Said I understood she had been overwhelmed, found one little sentence that let us both pretend the problem was weather and punctuation. Instead, I looked at Jack's photo box on the table. Did you ask Nathan before you sent that text? She hesitated. I don't remember. There were 20 things happening. Did he know I was outside? He knew you had arrived. Did he know you told me to wait? I assume so. You assume? Ellen, you're asking me to reconstruct 10 frantic minutes like I'm testifying in court. I'm asking if my son knew his mother had been told to wait in a car while he took family pictures. Her breath caught, and for the first time since the call began, she did not answer immediately. Then her voice changed. It became quieter, almost intimate. I know you don't think I'm good enough for him. I stared at the phone. What? You've never said it. You would never say something that direct. But I've felt it for 15 years. That has nothing to do with today. It has everything to do with today. You interpret every mistake I make as proof of something you already believe. I didn't interpret the message. I read it and decided I was deliberately excluding you. What was your intention? I was trying to keep the lobby from becoming a circus. By keeping me outside, by asking one person who hadn't come in yet to wait 10 minutes. Why me? Because I thought you would understand. The volume surprised both of us. I heard her pull in a breath. That's what Nathan said, she added. Lower now. I said we should ask you to wait until we had space, and he said you wouldn't mind. Something in my chest went still. Nathan said that? He knows you. He said you'd rather wait somewhere dry than stand around while we did Brooke's side. You just called yourself Brooke. What? You said while we did Brooke's side. I meant my side. I'm upset. She sounded genuinely shaken now. I could picture her in the inn bathroom, one hand pressed to her forehead, makeup lined up in neat little ranks beside the sink. Where are you? I asked. In our room. Is everyone waiting for you? The photographer is doing candids. With the cookies. That's unnecessary. Probably. Another pause. Will you come back? She asked. No. The rain has almost stopped here. It isn't about the rain. We can redo the big group. The photographer said she'll stay 20 extra minutes. I'm home. It's 2 hours. Yes. You drove 2 hours without answering. I spoke to Nathan. I spoke to Marcy. I'm speaking to you. You know what I mean. I do. Behind her, I heard a knock. Brooke. Nathan's voice. You okay? I'm on the phone with your mother. The door opened. She had either forgotten to lock it or Nathan had used a key. Their voices blurred for a moment. Then Nathan said, farther from the receiver, "Put her on speaker." "I'm already on speaker," I said. Brooke made a frustrated sound. "Mom," Nathan said. "You got home?" I did. Thank God. I called Marcy. I know. She told me. Brooke just told me something too. Silence tightened at their end. She said you knew about the message. I knew she was going to ask you to hang on for a few minutes. You said I wouldn't mind. I didn't think you would. Brooke cut in. That's what I've been trying to explain. I'm not talking to you right now, I said. You answered my phone call, and now I'm talking to my son. Don't speak to her like that, Nathan said. The speed of it hurt more than I expected. He could hear one sharp sentence from me and find his courage immediately. Ask Brooke to leave the room, I said. This is our anniversary weekend. That isn't an answer. I'm not asking my wife to leave our room so you can interrogate me. All right, Mom, stop. What do you want me to say? The truth would be interesting. The truth is, I thought you'd understand. Brooke was stressed. The photographer was stressed. People were dripping all over the lobby. You were safe and dry for a few minutes. I was outside looking at all of you. You should have called me. You looked at my car. I looked at the parking lot. You saw me. How could I see you through that rain? You knew the car. He lowered his voice. I knew you were there. There are moments when being right feels nothing like winning. It feels like stepping onto what you believed was solid ground and hearing it crack. Then we understand each other, I said. No, we don't. You are making this into something it wasn't. What was it? A scheduling problem, with one convenient solution. You always do this. I stood so abruptly the chair legs scraped the floor. I always do what? Store things up. Act like everything's fine, then suddenly there's a list. I haven't given you a list. I can hear it. Maybe you should. Brooke said his name in warning. No, Nathan said. I want to talk about this. She left without the albums Dad asked me to use in my toast. She took the cakes. She didn't tell Marcy what was going on, so now Marcy's mad at everybody. But somehow we're the only ones who did anything wrong. I looked at the photo box. I didn't take the albums, I said. They were already in my car. You know what I mean? No, I'm discovering that I know very little about what people mean. Mom, you wanted your father's photographs for a speech about family while I waited outside your family pictures. That's cheap. So was my dress. 40% off. Brooke made a sound that might have been a laugh if the room had been different. Nathan did not. This is serious, he said. I know, you're acting like it isn't. I'm standing alone in my kitchen in a wet dress. I know exactly how serious it is. Then come back tomorrow morning. We'll do brunch. We'll take pictures in the garden if the weather clears. And if it doesn't? Nobody spoke. I'm tired, I said. Happy anniversary. Don't hang up. I'm going to change. Mom, if you hang up now, you are choosing to make this a bigger problem. Brooke said, Nathan, let her go. No, because she does this. She decides she's hurt, and then nobody can say anything without making it worse. I was hurt before I decided anything. Fine. I'm sorry your feelings were hurt. Even Brooke groaned. What? Nathan said. You can't say it like that, she told him. I'm trying. No, you're trying to end the conversation. I had not expected her to say it. Neither had he. Nathan's voice went flat. Whose side are you on? I'm not doing sides. I'm saying that apology was terrible. Thank you, I said. Please don't thank me, Brooke replied. I'm still angry with you. That makes 2 of us. 3, Nathan said. For one absurd second, we were quiet together, the 3 of us united at last by mutual irritation. Then someone knocked on their door again. Pictures in 5, Marcy called from the hallway. And your mother is not bringing the cakes, so we need to make a decision about dessert. Brooke covered the phone, but not well enough. Put the cookies on plates, she said. They have stickers on the bags. Take off the stickers. There are 48 bags. Then ask my sisters to help. One of Nathan's muffled comments included my name. I set the phone on the table and pressed the speaker button, letting their voices fill my kitchen without holding them to my ear. Ellen? Brooke said. I'm here. We have to go. I know, I would like to talk when everyone is calmer. All right, Nathan said. Tomorrow. I didn't say tomorrow. Then when? I don't know. His anger returned. You can't just leave this hanging. I almost told him that was precisely what I had been asked to do in the parking lot. The sentence formed so neatly that I could have delivered it with the kind of timing Jack admired. I let it go. Goodbye, Nathan. Mom, I ended the call. The house hummed around me. Refrigerator, air vent, the small clock above the stove that Jack had always claimed was 3 minutes slow, though it matched every other clock in the house. I changed into sweatpants and one of his old gray shirts. The sleeves ended above my wrists because his arms had been shorter than mine, a fact that annoyed him throughout our marriage. In the kitchen, the cakes waited under their clear plastic covers. I cut into the damaged one with an ordinary knife. The first slice leaned to the left. I put it on a plate, carried it to the living room, and turned on a nature program where 2 birds screamed at each other over a patch of dirt. It felt less hostile than my phone. At 6:30, the doorbell rang. My neighbor Loretta stood on the porch in yellow rain boots, holding a casserole dish covered in foil. "Power's out on my side of the street," she said. "I made lasagna an hour ago, and I refuse to let a utility company ruin cheese." She looked at my face, then at the blue dress hanging over the staircase rail. "Aren't you supposed to be at that anniversary thing?" I was. Loretta stepped inside without asking. We had been neighbors for 11 years. Some permissions expire from overuse. She saw the cake. Did somebody die? No. Then why are the slices so small? I cut her a larger one. We ate at the kitchen table. Loretta did not ask again until she had finished half her cake and declared the glaze structurally unsound but delicious. Then she pointed her fork at me. "Now," she said, "tell me who sent you home with dessert." I started with the rain. By the time I reached the text, Loretta's fork had stopped halfway to her mouth. "She told you to wait in your car until the family photos were done. And Nathan, he knew." Loretta lowered the fork. She did not say the comforting thing. She did not tell me there had been a misunderstanding or that people behaved badly under stress. She asked, "How long have you been making it easy for him to do that?" I looked toward the dining room where the albums sat unopened. My phone lit up beside the cake plate. Brooke had posted in the anniversary group. The first photograph showed everyone arranged on the inn staircase, Nathan and Marcy in the center among Brooke's family. Beneath it, Brooke had written, "Nothing matters more than having the whole family together." Loretta leaned across the table and pulled my phone closer. "Is that the picture?" "It appears to be." She put on the reading glasses that hung from a beaded chain around her neck. Loretta claimed the chain made her look like a corrupt art dealer, which was apparently the goal. "Which one is Brooke?" "Middle of the staircase. Cream dress." "Oh, she's beautiful." "She is. And Nathan's beside her?" "Yes." Loretta enlarged the photograph with 2 fingers. "Your daughter is on his other side. Marcy." "I know Marcy. I was confirming the arrangement, not suffering memory loss. Sorry, don't get polite with me. It makes me nervous." She studied the screen. Brooke's parents sat on the bottom step. Her father held her mother's hand, their joined fingers positioned prominently on her cream trouser leg. Brooke's sisters and their husbands stood along the railing. Marcy was slightly behind Nathan, smiling as if someone had surprised her into it. One of Brooke's brothers-in-law wore a navy jacket, not soft brown, not sage, not even a blue that could be defended as gray under artificial light. Navy. Loretta noticed where I was looking. "I assume that's not why your dress is hanging over there like evidence." Brooke asked me to wear neutral colors for the photographs. "You're wearing blue. It was on sale." Ah, motive established. She said we'd make it work with a cream shawl. Did she ask Navy Jacket to wait in the boiler room? I took the phone back. Below the photo, little red hearts had begun appearing. Brooke's mother wrote, "A perfect day despite the weather." Her younger sister added, "Frame this one." Then Marcy's message appeared. Mom wasn't in this photo. The typing indicator flashed beneath it, vanished, then returned. Nobody sent anything. Brooke's mother removed her heart from Marcy's comment. I had not known a heart could be taken back. Technology continued to find new uses for old human behavior. Loretta watched my face. "Don't answer," she said. "I wasn't going to. You were thinking about it." I was thinking about several things. Most of them had punctuation. The typing indicator appeared again. This time, Nathan responded, "We'll get another tomorrow." Marcy wrote, "She went home." 3 dots. Nothing. 3 dots again. Finally, Brooke posted, "We had an unfortunate misunderstanding due to the rain. We love Ellen and missed her tonight." "That's efficient," Loretta said. "You've been both included and blamed in one sentence. She didn't blame me. She didn't name you as the person doing the misunderstanding either." I set the phone face down. Loretta finished her cake. She waited long enough that I knew she was choosing her next words, which was rare. Usually her words arrived without luggage. "Do you want me to tell you they're terrible people?" "No." "Good, because I don't think they are. Neither do I. I think they did a terrible thing." I traced a scratch on the tabletop. Jack had made it carrying in the leaves for the Thanksgiving table the first year we owned the house. He had insisted the scratch came from a serving platter, as though platters naturally arrived bearing branches. "Brooke was overwhelmed," I said. "Probably. And Nathan avoids conflict. You say that like it's a seasonal allergy. It's who he is." "No, it's what he does." I looked up. Loretta shrugged. "Who he is gets him sympathy. What he does gets him responsibility. You should put that on a pillow. I don't embroider for free." She pushed her empty plate away. "What are you going to do?" "I don't know. You could start by not feeding them tomorrow. They're at the inn through Sunday." "I mean, generally. Sunday supper has nothing to do with this." "Of course it does." Loretta had eaten at my Sunday table twice, both times when Jack was still alive. She had watched him burn garlic bread, blame the oven, and then serve it with the blackened side down. "You don't know anything about our dinners now," I said. "I know you start shopping on Thursday. I like to be organized. I know Marcy brings wine, Brooke brings flowers, and Nathan brings containers for leftovers. He brings things. He brings containers. Good containers. I'm sure they're excellent. Nathan was raised well." I smiled despite myself. Loretta reached across the table and laid her hand over mine. "I'm not telling you to blow up your family. It sounds a little like you are. I'm telling you not to sweep up the pieces before anybody else admits something broke." After she left, I washed our plates and put the extra cake in the refrigerator. I carried the photo box upstairs to the guest room, though there was no reason it could not remain downstairs. I did not want Jack's face looking at me from the dining table. At 11:13, Brooke texted privately, "I'm sorry tonight became so painful. I never intended to hurt or exclude you. I hope you'll come tomorrow. I've asked the photographer to meet us in the garden at 10:30 if the rain stops. We can still get beautiful photos." I read the message in bed. She was offering to correct the photograph. "Not the moment." I typed, "Thank you, I won't be coming." Before I could set the phone down, she replied, "Nathan will be devastated. Not I'll be disappointed. Not we want you here. Nathan will be devastated." I wrote, "Nathan knows how to reach me." Then I turned off my phone. The next morning, I woke at 6:20 out of habit. For a few seconds, I thought I needed to glaze the second cake. Then I remembered it was already downstairs, untouched, except for the missing slice Loretta and I had shared. The storm had scrubbed the sky clean. Sunlight struck the wet leaves so brightly they looked varnished. At 10:30, I stood at my bedroom window in my robe and imagined them entering the inn's garden. The photographer would know where to place everyone. Brooke's mother would probably wear different shoes because the ground was soft. Nathan would look tired in a way strangers found handsome. I wondered whether they had told the photographer I refused to return or that I had become ill. At 10:42, my phone began filling with messages from the night before. Nathan had called at midnight. Marcy had sent a photograph of the plated cookies with the caption, "We removed all 48 stickers. Tell Loretta I deserve combat pay." I did not know how she knew Loretta was with me until I found the earlier message I had missed. Saw Loretta's car. Glad you're not alone. That tenderness hurt too. I called her. "You're alive," she said. "Are you?" "Barely." Brooke's sister snores through walls. "You shared a room." No, she shared the entire second floor. How was the rest of the night? Weird. Be more specific. Everyone was having aggressive fun. I sat on the edge of the bed. What does that mean? It means Brooke danced to every song, including the slow ones. Nathan drank bourbon with her father and told a long story about Dad fixing the washing machine with a shoelace. That story is not true. I know. It was a belt. Your father would never sacrifice a good shoelace. Marcy laughed, then fell quiet. He gave the toast without the picture, she said. How was it? Good. I appreciated the answer. She could have lied in either direction. He talked about how marriage is a series of ordinary choices, she continued. Coffee made before the other person asks. A hand on somebody's back when a room gets crowded, that kind of thing. That sounds like him. It did. Did he mention me? No. The word came gently. I'm not asking because I expected him to. I know. I walked downstairs with the phone against my ear. Sunlight filled the kitchen. The second cake sat on the counter under its perfect leaf pattern. Brooke told everyone you were coming back for pictures this morning, Marcy said. I told her I wasn't. I know. I saw the messages when she left her phone in the bathroom. Marcy. I wasn't snooping. It lit up while I was brushing my teeth. I have excellent peripheral vision. What did they tell the photographer? That you weren't feeling well. I opened the refrigerator and stared inside. Do you want me to correct that? She asked. No. Why not? Because then everybody will have to talk about it in a garden before breakfast. They're already talking about it. Then they don't need your help. You are being very calm. I'm deciding whether lemon cake qualifies as breakfast. It has eggs. Exactly. Mom, are we still doing dinner next Sunday? The question surprised me. I don't know. We always do dinner. They've only been gone one day. No, I mean after this. Are we all going to sit at the table and pretend nothing happened? I don't intend to pretend. Good. But I also don't intend to make Sunday dinner a hearing. So what do we do? I took the cake from the refrigerator. I said, I don't know. Marcy exhaled. Nathan thinks you're trying to punish Brooke. Nathan has had a busy morning. He's upset. So am I. I know. There it was again. I know. Everybody knew, but somehow knowledge kept producing no useful action. Come home safely, I said. Will you call him? Not today. He's going to keep calling. Then he'll get practice. She laughed once. I love you. I love you too. I cut myself a piece of cake and ate it standing at the counter. Nathan called that afternoon, twice that evening, and once early Monday. He left only one voicemail. Ma, I'm giving you space, but this can't become a war. Call me. I listened to it while walking through the grocery store on Thursday. My cart already held garlic, rosemary, 2 bags of salad, and the short pasta Brooke liked because long noodles splattered sauce on her clothes. I had picked them up without thinking. Sunday supper usually included 6 adults, sometimes 8 if Brooke's parents came. I planned the meal by instinct. Roast chicken, potatoes, salad, pasta for Brooke, something chocolate for Nathan. There would be enough left for containers. I stood in the pasta aisle holding a box of rigatoni. The problem was not that they expected dinner. I had taught them to expect it. I had sent reminders, asked for preferences, waved away offers of help because other people chopped onions too slowly. I had built a ritual that made me necessary, then treated necessity as proof that I belonged. A woman reached around me for spaghetti. Sorry, I said, moving my cart. You're fine. I put the rigatoni back, then the rosemary, then the second bag of salad. At home, I stared at the family group on my phone for nearly 10 minutes before writing anything. No Sunday supper this week. I need some time to myself. Marcy responded first. Okay, love you. Brooke wrote, Of course. We understand. Nathan called. I let it ring, then answered. What does time to myself mean? He asked. It means there won't be dinner here on Sunday. Because of the anniversary? Because I don't want to host. Since when? Since now. You're canceling something the whole family depends on to prove a point. I didn't know roast chicken was load-bearing. This isn't funny. No, it's dinner. It's not just dinner, and you know that. He was right. I did know. I looked around the kitchen where I had spent years making sure no one else had to feel the effort behind being together. For once, I said, I'd like all of you to know it too. What exactly do you think we don't know? Nathan asked. That meals don't appear by themselves, that invitations require someone to make them, that remembering who isn't speaking to whom and seating them far enough apart takes work. We help. You bring containers. I bring wine. Marcy brings wine. Fine. I bring ice. You brought ice once and it melted in your trunk because you forgot it. That was 6 years ago. It left a smell. You said the cooler leaked. I was protecting your dignity. He went quiet and I heard the smallest change in his breathing. Nathan was trying not to laugh. It was an old reflex between us. He could be angry with me until one of us said something funny. Then the anger became embarrassing, like being caught in a serious conversation while wearing a party hat. This time, the laugh didn't come. I'll host, he said. Everybody can come to our place. That's fine. You too. No, thank you. Why not? Because I need time. You keep saying that, but time for what? I had no good answer. I wasn't building a case or planning a punishment. I wanted 1 week in which nobody's appetite could pull me back into position. To hear myself think, I said, about whether you still want a family? That's dramatic. You canceled the one thing we all do together, one Sunday. And when is it coming back? I don't know. He exhaled through his nose. You want us to beg? No, you do. You want Brooke to apologize in exactly the right words, and you want me to tell her she was wrong, and then maybe you'll decide we've suffered enough. I want you to understand why I left. I do understand. You felt excluded. He said felt the way a doctor might say, reported symptoms. I was excluded for 10 minutes. Would 9 have been acceptable? See? This is what I mean. Every answer becomes another trap. I'm not trapping you. I'm listening. No, you're collecting. There was enough truth in that to make me stop. I had collected things, not only from Nathan, from everyone. Brooke changing the seating chart, Marcy arriving late to help and early to eat, Nathan calling from my driveway to ask if I could pack food because he was too tired to come in. Tiny moments filed away beneath my good humor. Jack used to say I had the memory of an elephant and the presentation of a flight attendant. Maybe Nathan could hear the list because I had been carrying it between us for years. I should have spoken sooner, I said. That isn't an apology. It wasn't meant to be. Of course not. I closed my eyes. Don't come Sunday, I said. Please tell Brooke the same. We'll talk another time. She's the one who told me to give you space. Then listen to your wife. That's convenient. What do you want from me right now? I want my mother back. The sentence landed exactly where he intended. I'm still your mother, not the one I recognize. Maybe you didn't recognize me before. Neither of us spoke. Finally, he said, call me when you're done proving whatever this is. He hung up. I stood in the kitchen holding the silent phone. Anger came first because it was useful. It let me wipe the counter too hard, rearrange the spice drawer, and throw out a jar of mustard that had expired the previous spring. Then anger finished its shift and left me alone with everything else. Saturday morning, a delivery van stopped in front of my house. The driver brought a vase filled with cream roses and pale green leaves. There was no blue in the arrangement. The card read, "We love you and hope we can move forward together. Brooke and Nathan." I set the flowers on the dining table, then moved them to the kitchen, then back to the table. They were beautiful. That irritated me. At noon, Marcy called. Did you get the flowers? How do you know about them? Brooke asked if I thought roses were too romantic for a mother-in-law apology. What did you say? I said orchids would look threatening. I laughed before I could stop myself. She was trying, Marcy said. She sent a florist. Would you rather she cut them herself? I'd rather she not tell me to wait in a car. I knew you were going to say that. Then why did you ask? I didn't ask anything. I looked at the flowers. One rose had opened wider than the others, its center soft and crowded. "Are you going to Nathan's tomorrow?" I asked. They decided not to do dinner. Because of me? Because Nathan and Brooke fought about whether doing it would look like replacing you. So everyone's eating alone to preserve appearances. Brooke's parents invited them over. Of course. I might go. You should. Are you sure? I canceled dinner, Marcy. I didn't issue a fasting order. You could come. To Brooke's parents' house? They wouldn't mind. The fact that she believed this made me want to protect her from the conversation required to confirm it. No, thank you. Loretta coming over? I haven't asked her. Ask her. I'm capable of spending one evening by myself. I know you're capable. You're capable of performing your own appendix surgery. That doesn't make it a good Sunday activity. I don't have an appendix. See? You probably did it already. After we hung up, I carried the roses into the living room and put them on the table beside Jack's chair. Sunday arrived with insulting beauty. The air turned cool enough for open windows, and sunlight lay across the kitchen floor in long gold rectangles. At 3, I went outside and trimmed the dead heads from my hydrangeas. At 4, I folded laundry that did not need folding. At 5, my body began expecting people. That was the strangest part. My hands knew the schedule even when the stove did not. At 5:15, I opened the drawer for trivets before remembering there was nothing hot to place on the table. At 5:30, I checked the driveway after hearing a car door 2 houses down. By 6, I regretted everything. I pictured Nathan at Brooke's parents' table, telling the story in the version where his mother had turned a badly written message into exile. Brooke's mother would press her lips together and say families needed grace. Her father would change the subject. Marcy would defend me badly, which was sometimes more dangerous than not defending me at all. I picked up my phone. Nathan's name was near the top of the call list. One touch, and I could end the quiet. I could say I had overreacted. He would say we all had. Brooke would offer to bring leftovers. By the following Sunday, I would be standing at the stove again, restored to my proper place. I touched his name. The call screen opened. Before I pressed the green button, the doorbell rang. Marcy stood on the porch, holding a paper bag in one hand and a bottle of wine in the other. I thought you were going to Brooke's parents' house. I did. That was fast. It was long enough. She walked past me into the kitchen and set the bag on the counter. What happened? Nothing. That sounds promising. I brought Chinese. You hate Chinese. I hate the place Nathan orders from. This is from Golden Dragon. You also hate Golden Dragon. I'm in a growth period. The bag contained dumplings, lo mein, beef with broccoli, and enough fried rice for a construction crew. How many people did you think lived here? I asked. I panicked at the menu. I took 2 plates from the cabinet. Why did you leave? Marcy opened the wine. Brooke's mother asked if you had always been sensitive about photographs. I set down the plates. She did not. She didn't mean it badly. How does one mean that well? She was trying to understand. And what did you say? I said you weren't sensitive about photographs. You were sensitive about being told to sit in a parking lot. Good. Then Brooke said, you weren't told to sit in a parking lot. You were asked to wait in your car because of the rain. That car was in a parking lot. I pointed that out. I handed her a corkscrew. What did Nathan do? He told everybody we were ruining dinner. That sounds familiar. Then Brooke's father asked if we could discuss baseball. Nobody there watches baseball. I began spooning food onto the plates. Did you tell them you were leaving? I said I had a headache. You lied. Genetics. We carried the food to the table. For a while, we ate without discussing the anniversary. Marcy told me about a woman at her office who had scheduled a meeting to discuss why there were too many meetings. I told her Loretta's power had returned 10 minutes after she brought over the lasagna, but she had stayed for cake anyway. The ordinary conversation felt fragile, like a glass balanced near the edge of a counter. Marcy reached for another dumpling. Can I say something you won't like? You've never required permission before. I think Brooke was wrong. That part I like. And I think Nathan was worse. I put down my fork. She sent the text, Marcy continued, But he saw you out there. He could have walked outside. Yes. He could have called. Yes. He could have told the photographer to wait. Yes. Her eyes filled suddenly, which made mine burn in response. But I also think you're doing something you always do, she said. What? You don't tell us what you need. You wait to see if we'll notice. Then, when we don't, you act like the noticing was the whole test. I sat back. I never tested you. You do it without meaning to. Give me an example. When Dad died, you told everyone you wanted to be alone, so we left you alone. Then 6 months later, you told Aunt Susan you couldn't believe how empty the house had been. I was grieving. I know. So were we. The kitchen seemed to tilt slightly. Marcy looked down at her plate. You made food, she said. You organized things. You kept asking what everybody else needed, so we let you. It was easier to think you were okay when you were busy. I didn't say I was okay. You didn't say you weren't. I had just buried my husband. I thought that was a clue. She flinched. I regretted the sentence as soon as it landed, but regret did not pull it back. Your father would hate this conversation, I said. He'd change a light bulb in another room until it was over. That was so accurate, I smiled. Marcy smiled too, but tears had begun running down her cheeks. I miss him, she said. I know. No, you miss your husband. Nathan misses his father. I miss the person who called me every Tuesday and asked if my tires had air. We all lost somebody different. I reached for her hand. I'm sorry, I said. She squeezed my fingers. I'm not saying you should cook next Sunday, she said. I'm not even saying you should forgive them yet. I'm saying I don't know how to be close to you if you only let me need you. The refrigerator hummed behind us. Outside, a car passed without slowing. I looked at the food Marcy had brought. The plates I had not prepared, the wine I had not chosen. For the first time in longer than I could remember, my daughter had come to my table without being invited and fed me. I did not know whether to feel grateful or ashamed, so I told her the truth. I don't know how to be close to you any other way. Then we'll have to learn, Marcy said. She wiped her cheeks with the heel of her hand, leaving a streak of mascara beneath one eye. You have a napkin, I said. I'm making a point. You look like you lost a fight with a chimney. That was the point. I handed her a napkin anyway. We finished dinner more slowly. The food had gone lukewarm, but neither of us got up to heat it. Marcy told me she had sometimes resented Sunday supper because attendance was never officially mandatory, which made missing it feel worse. I told her I had sometimes resented cooking it because everybody complimented the meal as though compliments washed roasting pans. Why didn't you ask us to help, she said. I did. When? Every year around my birthday. That was a joke. Only because nobody volunteered. She stared at me. You see how that's exactly what I was talking about, right? Unfortunately. When we finished, she began stacking plates. You can leave those, I said. No, I'll do them later. I know. That's why I'm doing them now. You're a guest. I'm your daughter. Those things aren't mutually exclusive. In this house, they've been pretty close. I opened my mouth, then shut it. She carried the plates to the sink. I followed with the containers, and we stood shoulder to shoulder, scraping rice into the garbage disposal. Marcy loaded the dishwasher badly. Bowls faced one another, spoons nested together, and she put a wooden cutting board across the bottom rack. I removed the cutting board. She caught me. Mom, it will warp. Then let it learn resilience. It's maple. Stand back. I stood back. This required more courage than the parking lot. Before she left, Marcy hugged me on the porch. She had inherited Jack's way of hugging with one hard squeeze at the end, as if testing the construction. Are you going to call Nathan? She asked. Not tonight. He'll ask me what we talked about. Tell him to ask me. That would require him to enjoy discomfort. He's had advantages long enough. She opened her car door, then looked back. Don't decide everything while you're angry. I'm not deciding everything. Just Sunday supper? I'm thinking about it. That means you've decided. I watched her taillights disappear, then went inside and found the wooden cutting board lying flat in the dishwasher like a fallen door. It did not warp. Nathan came on Tuesday evening carrying a tower of plastic containers. I saw him through the front window and considered pretending I wasn't home. Then he looked directly at me through the glass. He lifted the containers. I opened the door. "Returning my property?" I asked. "Apparently half our kitchen is your property. Those are mine? You wrote your initials on the bottoms. I wrote everyone's initials. People steal." He handed me the stack. "This one is Brooks. It has BM on it." "Exactly. Her maiden name was Lane." "I know." The initials belonged to a ceramic bowl my friend Betty Moore had given me in 2009. I had not seen Betty in 3 years, but I remembered the bowl. "Come in," I said. Nathan stepped into the foyer and glanced toward the kitchen. His eyes moved to the anniversary flowers, now opening heavily in the vase. "They held up," he said. "They're nice. Brooke chose them." "I assumed you didn't." "What does that mean?" "You once sent me a cactus for Mother's Day. The website called it sculptural." The website was trying to move cacti. His mouth twitched. I carried the containers to the kitchen. Nathan followed, but he did not sit. He stood near the counter with his hands in his pockets, 43 years old and somehow still capable of looking like the teenager who had backed Jack's car into a mailbox. "Coffee?" I asked. "No thanks. Water? I'm good." Without something to offer him, I did not know where to put my hands. I opened a cabinet and began matching lids to containers. "Marcy told me she came over Sunday," he said. "She did. She left dinner at Charlene and Doug's, Brooke's parents." It was strange hearing their names in my kitchen when I'd spent the week thinking of them as people arranged on a staircase. "She had a headache," I said. Nathan gave me a look. "Her story, not mine." "What did you two talk about?" "You should ask her." I did. "She said to ask you." I smiled despite myself. "That sounds like your sister. She's mad at me." "Why?" "Because I didn't go out to your car." I found the lid for Betty's bowl and pressed it down. "What did you tell her?" I told her the same thing I told you. Everything happened fast. That isn't an answer. It is an answer. You just don't like it. No, it's a description of time. Nathan pulled out a chair and sat. "What do you want, Mom?" "Seriously, tell me what I'm supposed to do." I turned from the cabinet. "You keep asking what you're supposed to do as if there's one task that will finish this. Isn't there?" "No." Brooke apologized. She sent flowers. She also texted. She said she was sorry the night became painful. That is an apology. It is a weather report with flowers. He rubbed both hands over his face. "I can't make her use the exact words you want. I haven't asked you to. You want me to take your side. I want to know why you left me outside. We didn't leave you outside. Then why did you send me flowers?" He looked toward the arrangement. "Because you were hurt." "By what?" "You know what? Say it." His jaw tightened. "This is what Marcy means about tests. Marcy told me I test people by not speaking. I'm speaking now. You're forcing me to call my wife cruel. I didn't use that word. You don't have to." I sat across from him. "Do you believe she was cruel?" "No. Do you believe the message was cruel?" He looked at the table between us. I believe it sounded bad. It did not sound bad. It was bad. She was under pressure. So is a foot in a tight shoe. It still hurts. That doesn't make any sense. It made sense when I started. His laugh came out before he could stop it. Mine followed. For a few seconds, we were ourselves again. Then the laughter faded, and I saw relief move across his face. He thought the opening had arrived. One joke, one softening, and we could step backward into the old arrangement. "I'm not hosting Sunday supper anymore," I said. The relief disappeared. "You mean this week?" "I mean as a standing event. So it is punishment." "No, it's a change." "Because of the anniversary?" "Because the anniversary showed me something. That we're ungrateful. That I've made being useful the easiest way to have me around. Who told you that?" Why does someone have to tell me? Because that doesn't sound like you, it sounds exactly like me. You just haven't heard it before. Nathan leaned back in the chair. We like coming here. I like having you. Then what's the problem? The problem is that I don't know whether we like each other when I'm not feeding you. That's insulting. Is it untrue? Yes. When was the last time you came here without needing anything? I'm here now. You brought containers. That was an excuse. The admission surprised me. He looked embarrassed by it, which made me love him so sharply I had to look away. You could have knocked without carrying something, I said. I didn't know if you'd let me in. I would. You declined half my calls. I needed time. And now? I still do. He stared at me, and I watched him try to find the version of this conversation he knew how to have. What happens on Sundays? He asked. Whatever everybody chooses. You're going to sit here alone? Sometimes. And that's better? Not necessarily. Then this makes no sense. Something can hurt and still be necessary. He stood. Brooke says, you want us to feel what you felt. I don't want anyone sitting in a car. You know what she means. I know what everyone means lately. Nobody means what they say, and I'm rude for noticing the words. He walked to the living room doorway and back. Fine. No weekly dinner. We can rotate. Our place. Marcy's place. Here when you feel like it. Maybe. What's wrong with that? Nothing. You said it like there is. I don't want another system invented before we understand why the old one stopped. It stopped because you canceled it. Yes, and you're enjoying having all the power. The sentence found an old bruise. You think cooking dinner every week gave me power? You decided when we came, what we ate, who was invited. You call it work now, but you liked being the center. I wanted to deny it. Instead, I looked around my kitchen. The copper pans Jack bought me hung above the island. Family photographs covered one side of the refrigerator. My table, my food, my timing. Brooke brought flowers because I never asked her to bring a dish. Marcy brought wine because it was the only job I had not reclaimed after she chose the wrong bottle once. I did like it, I said. Nathan blinked. I liked all of you coming here. I liked knowing what you needed. I liked being the person everybody called. Then why are we doing this? Because I used that feeling to avoid asking whether you came for me. He lowered his eyes. I came for you. Good. That's it? What else do you want? I want you to believe me. I want to. The honesty wounded him. I saw it happen. He picked up his car keys from the table. Brooke's right, he said. Nothing we say will be enough. She might be right about that today. He moved toward the foyer. Nathan. He stopped but did not turn. You don't need an excuse to come here. After a moment, he nodded. The front door closed quietly behind him. I stood at the window while he sat in his car. He did not start the engine. He looked down at his phone, then toward my house, then down again. I thought of walking outside. I did not. 5 minutes later, he drove away. The following Sunday, no one came. Marcy called in the afternoon but did not mention dinner. Brooke sent a photograph of the roses from the anniversary, dried and arranged in a smaller vase. Nathan sent nothing. I ate soup from a can and discovered that quiet could feel peaceful until about 6:30. At 7, my phone buzzed. It was Nathan. What size roasting pan do you use for the chicken? I stared at the message. Then I wrote back, the big stainless one. 400 degrees. Put onions underneath so it doesn't sit in the drippings. He replied, we don't have the big stainless one. I typed, you have a pan. Use what you have. 3 dots appeared. Will it still work? I looked at the empty chair across from me. Yes, I wrote. It will be different, but it will work. A photograph arrived 40 minutes later. The chicken sat in what appeared to be a glass baking dish, one leg pointing toward the ceiling. The skin was pale except for a dark patch on the breast, and onions floated in an impressive amount of liquid. Nathan wrote, "Is it supposed to look like this?" I enlarged the picture. "Did you dry the skin first?" "No." "Did you put oil on it?" Brooke thought butter would burn. Butter does burn, but not emotionally. He sent a question mark. I wrote, "Never mind. Turn the heat up for 15 minutes. Don't use the broiler." "Almost immediately," he replied. "Why not the broiler?" "Because I raised you." The next message came from Brooke. He used the broiler. I called them. Nathan answered over the sound of their smoke alarm. "It was 30 seconds, he shouted. "Open a window." "They're all open." Brooke's voice came from farther away. "Tell her the dish cracked." "The dish did not crack," Nathan said. "It made a sound. Glass makes sounds, not encouraging ones." "Turn off the oven," I said. "Already did. Is there smoke or fire?" "Smoke." "Then stop waving that towel and take the chicken out." "How do you know I'm waving a towel? Because you're your father's son." Something clattered. Brooke coughed and said, "This was supposed to be his grand gesture." "I am cooking," Nathan replied. "That is the gesture. You called your mother 6 times. 3. You sent pictures." "Mom," he said into the phone, "how do I know if it's done?" "Use the thermometer I gave you." A pause. "Where is it?" "Second drawer, left of the stove." Another pause. Longer this time. "You know our kitchen better than we do." I did. Nathan found the thermometer. The chicken was safe, if unattractive. Brooke opened the back door, and the alarm finally stopped. "Are you eating with Marcy?" I asked. "She's here," Nathan said. "Hi, Mom," Marcy yelled. I pictured the 3 of them standing in smoke surrounded by dishes, doing without me badly but successfully. "Do you want to come over?" Brooke asked. The invitation sounded sincere. It also came at 7:28, when dinner was already cooked and I was in my nightgown. Not tonight. "We have enough," Nathan said. "I'm sure you do. We can pick you up." "You've been drinking," Brooke told him. "I had 1 beer, exactly. I'll pick her up. No one needs to pick me up." The 3 of them went quiet. "Enjoy your dinner," I said. "I'm glad the chicken survived." "So are we," Brooke said. Nathan's voice softened. "You sure?" "Yes." That answer was true when I said it. After we hung up, it became less true with every minute. I ate the rest of my soup and watched a game show with the sound too low. At 9, Nathan sent a photograph of 3 plates on the table. The chicken looked better sliced. Marcy held a blackened onion on her fork like a trophy. The caption read, "Different, but worked." I pressed the heart beneath it. For the next few weeks, Sunday became an ordinary day by force. The first few were awkward. Nathan tried cooking again. Marcy went out with friends from work. Brooke and her parents ordered pizza. Nobody coordinated, which meant there was nothing for me to decline and no gathering from which to feel excluded. I began going to the late service at church instead of the early one. I lingered afterward over coffee that tasted like it had been filtered through a brown sock. I walked with Loretta on Sunday afternoons because she had been instructed by her doctor to improve her circulation and had interpreted that as permission to criticize landscaping. "That mailbox is too small for the house," she said during one walk. "It holds mail." "That's not the point." "What is the point?" "Proportion." "You sound like Brooke." Loretta stopped walking. "You take that back." I laughed so hard a man watering his lawn looked over. The quiet at home did not vanish, but it changed shape. Some evenings it felt like abandonment. Others felt like room. Nathan called more often, though our conversations remained careful. He asked what I was doing instead of what I was cooking. The first time I suspected he needed something and was taking the scenic route. He didn't. He told me his office had replaced the coffee machine with one that required an app, and we spent 10 minutes discussing the decline of civilization. Marcy started meeting me for lunch on Wednesdays. We chose restaurants neither of us had to clean afterward. Brooke sent messages in the family group, but rarely contacted me directly. When she did, it was practical and polite. She thanked me for the chicken instructions. She asked whether I wanted my cake stands returned, forgetting they had never left my car. When I pointed that out, she replied, "Right. Sorry." That right carried more embarrassment than the apology. Then she asked me to lunch. Her message arrived on a Tuesday morning. "Would you meet me Thursday? Just us. I think we keep trying to talk through Nathan, and that's making everything worse." I read it twice before replying. "All right." She suggested a cafe halfway between our houses. I arrived first and chose a table near the window. Brooke arrived exactly on time, wearing dark green trousers and a cream sweater. I wore blue, not deliberately, though I was aware of it when she sat down. "Thank you for coming," she said. "You're welcome." A server brought menus. Brooke ordered iced tea without lemon. I ordered coffee. Neither of us opened the menus after that. "I don't want this to be another argument," she said. "Neither do I. I want to explain what happened." "You already explained." "I explained while everyone was upset. I was upset because of what happened, Brooke. Calming down doesn't change the event." Her mouth tightened. "I know," she said, "but I need you to understand the context." I waited. The photographer was only available for 90 minutes. The gardens were unusable. The lobby manager was worried about blocking check-in. My mother's knee was hurting, and my sister had already complained that her hair was frizzing. Those sound like reasons to shorten the session. They were reasons to organize it. By removing me. Temporarily. Removing one person makes very little space. It wasn't about physical space. The words slipped out. Brooke looked down at the table. "What was it about?" I asked. The server returned with our drinks. Brooke waited until she left. It was about keeping things simple. For whom? For me. There was no graceful response, so I let the silence do its work. Brooke folded and unfolded the corner of her paper napkin. "Your family doesn't think I can do anything right," she said. "That isn't true. It is how I feel. You told Nathan my feelings weren't the same as facts. I didn't say that, he did. And now everything he says is my responsibility? No, because that's how this has felt. If he gives a bad apology, I'm blamed. If he doesn't go outside, I'm blamed. If he calls you angry, somehow that's because he's protecting me. I blame Nathan for what Nathan did. You left because of my text. I left because your text told me where I stood, and my son confirmed it." Brooke stared through the window at the parking lot. "This is what I mean," she said. "There's always a deeper meaning with you. Nothing can just be a mistake." Was the text a mistake? The wording was. Was asking me to wait a mistake? She lifted her glass and took a drink. "You didn't answer." I heard the question. "Then answer it." "I should have handled it differently." "That is not the same thing." "No, Ellen, I should not have asked you to wait in the car. Is that what you need? It helps. But you also could have called. You could have walked inside. You could have given me one chance to fix it before driving 2 hours home with the dessert." There it was, balanced and reasonable. My wound and my failure, placed side by side. "I could have," I said. She looked surprised. "I should have told Marcy what was happening," I continued. "I should have called Nathan directly from the car. Leaving made the day harder for everyone." Brooke's shoulders lowered. "But I will not apologize for refusing to walk into a room after being told to stay outside. I didn't say stay outside. Please don't start that again. I'm not. I just want you to be accurate. I was in my car. You were inside. Accuracy is not the problem." The server returned to ask if we were ready to order. Brooke chose a salad. I ordered grilled cheese because no serious family conversation has ever been improved by arugula. When we were alone again, Brooke said, "Did you know I hated Sunday dinners?" No. The bluntness of it surprised me more than it should have. "I didn't hate being with everyone," she added quickly. "I hated walking into your house and feeling like I had arrived late to a play everyone else knew. What does that mean? You and Nathan had jokes I didn't understand. Marcy knew which drawer held everything. Jack had stories from before I met you. Even after he died, he was at that table more than I was. I looked at her. That isn't fair. I know. He should be there. I'm not criticizing you for talking about him. It sounds like you are. I'm telling you how it felt. Isn't that what we're doing? The server delivered our food. Brooke moved a tomato to the edge of her plate. You corrected everything I brought, she said. I made potatoes once, and you added salt before you tasted them. You barely used salt then. You moved my flowers because they blocked the sight lines. You rearranged my Thanksgiving table for the same reason. I learned it from you. I almost smiled, but she didn't. I stopped bringing food, she continued, because you always had a better version ready. Then you started telling people Brooke brings flowers, like I was decorative. I never meant it that way. And I never meant for you to feel like you weren't family. I took a bite of my sandwich. It was too hot, and I burned the roof of my mouth. We are both very talented at meaning well, I said. Brooke looked down. Apparently. For a minute, we ate. Then I asked, why were Nathan and Marcy in your family's photograph? Nathan is my husband. And Marcy? The photographer pulled her in. You keep saying that as if photographers control events by force. Brooke pushed her salad around. I wanted one picture with my family, she said. I'm not stopping you from having one. I mean my side, the people I grew up with, and Nathan and Marcy. She walked in at the wrong moment, and I arrived at the wrong moment. I didn't say that. You didn't have to. Brooke's face flushed. For 15 years, every holiday has been at your table, she said. Every birthday, every anniversary, every tradition somehow starts with what you and Jack did. I wanted one day where my family came first. The cafe noise seemed to drop away. I looked at her cream sweater, her careful hands, the woman who had changed my sheets after Jack died and now sat across from me defending the decision to leave me in a parking lot. You wanted my cakes, I said. She closed her eyes. You wanted my albums, my silver knife. You wanted Nathan to tell a story about his father. I know how that sounds. No, I don't think you do. She opened her eyes. I wanted what you bring, she said quietly. I just didn't want you controlling the day. I wasn't inside the building. I know. The admission sat between us plain at last. Brooke took a breath. I am sorry you were hurt, she said. I am. But I also think you enjoyed leaving because it made everybody see me as the villain. I folded my napkin and placed it beside my plate. I drove home crying so hard I had to stop at a service plaza. Her face changed. I didn't know that. You didn't ask. I'm asking now. No, you're telling me why I deserve to be outside. She reached for her iced tea and missed the glass by an inch. I put cash beneath my coffee cup and stood. Ellen, please don't walk out again. I looked at her. I'm not walking out to punish you. I'm leaving because we've said enough for today. What do I tell Nathan? The truth. Which truth? That we had lunch, I said, and neither of us got what she wanted. Brooke did not follow me. I sat in my car with both hands on the steering wheel, watching people enter and leave the cafe. Nobody looked through the window to see whether I belonged to them. For a moment, I wondered whether leaving had become too easy. I had left the inn, ended phone calls, canceled dinners, and now walked away from lunch. Each time, I had a reason. Reasons could still become habits. I nearly went back inside. Then Brooke appeared through the cafe window. She remained at the table, her salad untouched, pressing a napkin beneath one eye. The sight pulled at me. I knew how to comfort her. I could sit down again, admit I had controlled holidays, praise her anniversary, and turn my injury into a misunderstanding we had created together. That would have been kind. It also would not have been honest yet. I started the car. Nathan called before I reached home. I just spoke to Brooke, he said. I assumed you would. She's very upset. So am I. She said you accused her of wanting everything you provide without wanting you. I told her she wanted my cakes and albums while asking me to wait outside. That's not the same thing. It's close. She tried to explain how Sunday dinners felt to her. I listened. Did you? Yes. She said you got up and left. After lunch. You know what I mean. I'm beginning to think nobody does. A horn sounded behind me. The light had changed. I'm driving, I said. Fine. Call me when you get home. No. Why not? Because you weren't at lunch. I know what happened. You know what Brooke told you. So she's lying? I didn't say that. She told you what happened to her. I would tell you what happened to me. Then you would compare the versions, decide which woman was more reasonable, and carry your verdict back to your wife. I'm trying to help. You're trying to stand in the middle. I am in the middle. No, Nathan. You're married to Brooke. Stand beside her. Just stop pretending that means you can't see me. He was silent. I don't even know what that means, he said. I know. I ended the call at the next red light before either of us could make it worse. That evening, Brooke sent one message. I told Nathan exactly what I said, including the part about wanting my family to come first. I also told him you admitted you could have called before leaving. I don't want him turning this into two different stories. It was the most honest thing she had offered me since the anniversary. I replied, "Thank you." She did not answer. Loretta took me to her garden club the following Sunday. I agreed because she had asked 4 times and because the alternative was listening for cars that were not coming. The club met in a room behind a public greenhouse. 11 women and 2 men sat in folding chairs discussing whether the town should replace the dying roses around the library with native plants. I expected gentle disagreement. Instead, a woman named Evelyn accused ornamental roses of ecological vanity, and a retired dentist named Paul said native plants looked like highway weeds. Loretta whispered, "Paul's wife left him for a landscape architect. That explains nothing. It explains his hostility to texture. They asked what I grew. I said hydrangeas and tomatoes. Any success with the tomatoes? Evelyn asked. Depends what you mean by success. The squirrels are thriving. She invited me to join a committee arranging planters along the senior center walkway. My first impulse was to say yes and ask what supplies everyone needed. Instead, I said I would think about it. Loretta gave me a sideways look. What? I asked in the parking lot. You didn't volunteer to run the committee, bake refreshments, and repave the walkway. I'm growing. Slowly, but growth rings count. I went back the next week. Sunday supper did not return. Nathan hosted twice more, and both times I was invited in advance. I declined the first invitation because I wasn't ready. I accepted the second. Brooke made pot roast. It was dry, and I said nothing. She caught me adding gravy. You hate it, she said. I don't. It's overcooked. A little. You can say it. You want me to criticize your dinner? I want you not to sit there performing mercy. Marcy looked from Brooke to me. This meal needs place cards and a referee. Nathan cut into his meat. I think it's good. You ate beef jerky in college, Brooke said. That was a financial decision. I put down my fork. The carrots are excellent. Brooke laughed. Thank you. It was not forgiveness. It was dinner. I brought wine and did not arrive early. When Nathan began clearing plates, I started to stand from habit. Sit, he said. You need help. I have a dishwasher. You also have a wooden cutting board in it. Marcy looked offended. It survived. I sat. The evening was awkward in patches, pleasant in others. Brooke showed Marcy fabric samples for new curtains. Nathan asked whether I had joined a cult because I mentioned the garden club twice. Nobody talked about the photograph. When I left, Brooke handed me no leftovers. Nathan followed me to the driveway. Was tonight okay? He asked. It was, just okay. It was nice. He nodded, but his eyes searched my face. I'm not grading you, I said. It feels like you are. I spent years wanting all of you to grade me. Best dinner, best mother, best place to gather. I think we're all going to feel watched until that wears off. Does it wear off? I hope so. He glanced toward the house. Brooke stood behind the kitchen window rinsing dishes. She meant what she said in that message, he told me. Which part? That she didn't mean to hurt you. I believe her. He looked surprised. Meaning not to hurt someone doesn't erase hurting them, I said. I know. Do you? His mouth tightened. I touched his arm. That wasn't a test. It was a question. I'm trying, Ma. I know. This time, the words felt useful. Marcy's birthday arrived near the end of the month. When I asked what she wanted, she said, no singing in a restaurant, no balloon arch, and no surprise gathering involving people I only tolerate at work. That is more a list of what you don't want. Exactly. Learn from it. She wanted my mushroom risotto and the chocolate tart Jack used to call the reason he married me. She asked if she could invite Dana and Felix from her office. I knew Dana from Marcy's stories. Felix was the man who had organized the meeting about excessive meetings. What about Nathan and Brooke? I asked. Marcy hesitated. I'll do something with them another night. Are you sure? I want one dinner where nobody is monitoring everybody else's tone. That sounds healthy. It sounds exhausting that I have to request it. I hosted the 3 of them on a Friday. Loretta came because Marcy invited her and because Loretta claimed birthday wine had no calories if the person drinking it was not the one aging. I kept the meals small. No appetizers with separate plates. No flowers arranged 3 times. I cooked the risotto while everyone stood around the island, and when Felix offered to stir, I handed him the spoon. He stirred too slowly. I survived. Dana brought the tart from a bakery because Marcy had quietly asked her to. I did not survive that as gracefully. You asked for my tart, I said when Dana opened the box. I asked for chocolate tart, Marcy replied. You specifically mentioned your father. I said Dad loved chocolate tart. Mine has orange zest. So does this one. I stared at the neat bakery label. Marcy took my hand. I wanted you at the table. The words silenced me. Loretta, opening the wine, said, if we all continue growing at this rate, none of our clothes will fit. I laughed and sat down. The tart was excellent. Not as good as mine, but excellence has limits. Dana took a photograph of Marcy blowing out 1 candle because 60 candles would have melted the frosting. The picture caught all of us laughing, Felix still holding the serving knife, Loretta's wine glass raised, and me seated beside my daughter with empty hands. Marcy posted it in the family group. Perfect birthday. Exactly what I wanted. Nathan called 10 minutes later. I stepped onto the back porch to answer. You had a birthday dinner for Marcy? He asked. She wanted a small dinner. I'm her brother, I'm aware. So is Brooke. No, Brooke is her sister-in-law. You know what I mean. I looked through the window. Marcy was dividing the remaining tart while Dana held the container. She planned another evening with you, I said. That's not the point. What is? You excluded us. The word hung in the cool air. I respected Marcy's guest list. At your house. Yes, the house where we've celebrated every family birthday for years. That doesn't make every dinner a family event. It looked like one. It was 5 people eating risotto. You, Marcy, Loretta, and 2 people she barely knows. She works with them every day. And somehow her own brother didn't make the cut. I heard the injury beneath his anger. That mattered, even if it did not make him right. I'm sorry it hurt you, I said. He laughed once without humor. That sounds familiar. Yes, it does. So now you understand. I understand why those words are not enough. He went quiet. I continued. I also understand that being hurt doesn't give you control over someone else's birthday. You could have told us. You're right. Marcy should have. Why didn't you? Because I was not going to manage her relationship with you. That's convenient. It's new. Through the window, I saw Marcy watching me. I turned away. Nathan lowered his voice. Be honest. Did some part of you enjoy having a family dinner without us? I thought about Brooke's empty place, about the ease at the table, about not wondering whether every sentence contained a hidden blade. Yes, I said. Some part of me did. At least you admit it. But not because I wanted you punished. Because the evening was peaceful. Our presence destroys peace now? Sometimes our current habits do. What does that even mean? It means we don't know how to be together without arguing over what the anniversary proved. You're the one who keeps making everything about the anniversary. I haven't mentioned it once tonight. You didn't have to. You staged the opposite picture. I looked back through the glass at the photograph Dana had taken. No matching colors. No arrangement. No one missing by accident. It wasn't staged. That makes it worse. He ended the call. When I returned to the kitchen, Marcy was angry. You shouldn't have answered, she said. He's hurt. It was my decision. Then you need to tell him. I will. Tonight. Stop managing me. The words struck cleanly, because she had learned them from me. I nodded. You're right. Marcy picked up her phone and went into the living room. Loretta began wrapping tart in foil. Dana and Felix studied their plates with the concentration of people who regretted attending a birthday with relatives. I sat down across from them. Family tradition, I said. Dessert first, then emotional shrapnel. Felix lifted his coffee. My office is suddenly looking very healthy. From the living room came Marcy's voice, sharp and shaking. I didn't invite you because I didn't want to spend my birthday watching you defend Brooke from Mom and Mom from herself. Silence followed. Then Marcy said, much quieter, No, Nathan. This isn't only about what happened to her. I'm tired too. Marcy listened, her free hand pressed against her forehead. No, she said. I'm not choosing Mom over you. I'm choosing my own birthday over both of you. Loretta looked impressed. Dana whispered, Should we leave? Yes, Felix whispered back. No, I said. Finish your coffee. They both reached for their cups. In the living room, Marcy paced past the doorway. You want to know why I didn't tell you? She said. Because I knew this would happen. I knew you'd turn it into a referendum on the whole family. A pause. No, the picture wasn't a message. It was a picture. Another pause. Brooke has nothing to do with it. Marcy closed her eyes. Because she doesn't. I didn't invite Mom's dentist either. Not every person missing from a room has been rejected. Loretta leaned toward me. Who's your dentist? Dr. Klein. He wouldn't have enjoyed the risotto. You don't know him. He has humorless hands. I pressed my lips together, trying not to laugh. Marcy lowered her voice. I love you. I'll have dinner with you next week. But if you make me apologize for wanting one easy night, I won't. She ended the call and stood with her back to us. I went into the living room. You all right? No, you handled it well. I learned from watching everyone else handle things badly. That includes me. Yes. The answer came without hesitation. I waited. Marcy turned around. You should not have taken that call during my birthday dinner. I know. And you shouldn't have told me to call him tonight. I thought, I know what you thought. You thought if I explained it correctly, Nathan would stop being upset. Yes, that's not my job. No. She wiped beneath her eyes, careful this time because Dana had helped with her makeup. I'm sorry, I said. Marcy looked toward the kitchen, where 3 adults were pretending not to listen. Can we just have coffee now? Yes. And nobody talks about the anniversary. Agreed. And no more emotional growth tonight. Loretta called from the table. I object. Objection denied, Marcy said. We returned to the kitchen. Felix told a story about accidentally sending a sarcastic message to his company's entire executive group. Dana described the 23 seconds before he discovered the recall function. Marcy laughed. So did I. The evening recovered, but not completely. I was beginning to understand that recovery did not mean returning a thing to its original condition. Sometimes it meant finding a use for what remained. Nathan did not come to dinner with Marcy the next week. He said he had work, though Marcy knew he did not. She met Brooke alone at a restaurant and refused to tell me what they discussed. That would be managing, she said when I asked. I regret teaching you that word. Brooke sent me no messages. Nathan called once, asked how I was, and spent 8 minutes discussing a leak beneath his kitchen sink. He insisted he did not need advice. Then he described the exact location of the water 3 times until I told him to replace the supply line. "Thank you," he said. "You're welcome." Neither of us mentioned Marcy's birthday. The strain spread through ordinary things. Marcy stopped posting in the family group. Brooke's mother invited all of us to brunch, then canceled after Nathan said the timing was bad. A cousin called me to ask whether Thanksgiving was still happening with a tone that suggested the country's agricultural calendar depended on my answer. "I'm not hosting this year," I said. "Oh, I'm sure someone will." "Of course." She waited for me to volunteer the next person. I did not. For 32 years, Thanksgiving had happened in my house. The first year, Jack and I owned only 6 matching plates, so we borrowed 4 from a neighbor and told everyone the mismatched table looked intentional. Over time, the meal grew from 1 folding table to 2, then shrank again as relatives moved, died, divorced, or stopped speaking over matters nobody could explain clearly a decade later. I had always complained about the work. Secretly, I loved waking before dawn and hearing the house fill hour by hour. I loved Jack stealing crisp skin from the turkey. I loved Nathan opening the oven every 10 minutes until I threatened to remove the door. I loved Brooke arriving with flowers, even when she changed my table. Giving it up felt less like freedom than handing over a language I was fluent in. The first week of November, Brooke posted in the family group, "Nathan and I would love to host Thanksgiving this year and give Ellen a well-deserved break. We're thinking 2 o'clock. Please let us know if you can come." The responses appeared quickly. Marcy could come. Brooke's parents could come. Her sisters had other plans but might stop by for dessert. The cousin who called me replied with 3 turkey emojis. I typed, "Thank you. I'll be there." Brooke responded with a heart. For 2 days, I felt almost hopeful. Then she sent me a private message. "Since I'm taking the turkey, gravy, potatoes, and rolls, could you bring your stuffing, sweet potatoes, cranberry relish, and a pie? Nathan says it won't feel like Thanksgiving without your pecan pie. If you come around 10, we'll have plenty of time to get everything warmed and set up." I read the list at my kitchen table. The dishes she had assigned me required nearly as much work as the meal I had given up. My stuffing alone involved drying bread for 2 days because Jack had once declared packaged cubes a violation of trust. The cranberry relish needed to sit overnight. The pecan pie was Nathan's favorite and took 15 minutes longer than the recipe claimed because my oven ran cool. I began typing that I would do it. Then I stopped. I pictured arriving at 10 through Brooke's side door with foil-covered dishes. Her mother would be there in a clean sweater. Brooke would be directing the turkey. I would spend 4 hours in the kitchen making my food fit her schedule, then take my assigned place at the table. I erased the message. "I'm happy to bring wine and come at 2 as a guest. I'm not able to take on 4 dishes or arrive early this year." Brooke called. "I thought you wanted to come." She said, "I do." "Then why are you refusing to help?" "I'm not refusing. I offered to bring wine." "You know that's not the same." "Yes. I have never made Thanksgiving dinner for this many people. You can ask everyone to bring 1 dish. Charlene is doing appetizers." Charlene. Her mother. Even in the privacy of my thoughts, I had kept calling her Brooke's mother, as though names might grant too much equality. "Doug can bring dessert," I said. "My father buys grocery store pie. Then we'll eat grocery store pie. Nathan wants yours. He has the recipe. You know he doesn't bake. He didn't cook chicken until last month. This feels deliberate. It is deliberate. I deliberately don't want to cook Thanksgiving dinner in someone else's kitchen. Nobody asked you to cook dinner. You asked me to make half the sides and the dessert. 4 dishes. Then they should be easy to distribute." Brooke exhaled. "I was trying to include your traditions. You can include me. I invited you. As help. As family. Families help. Families also let each other be guests. You have never been a guest at Thanksgiving. That is why I would like to try it." Her voice cooled. Do you understand what kind of position this puts me in? I do. Do you? Yes. You offered to host something I used to do, and now you're discovering it was work. I always knew it was work. Then plan the meal you can make. I'm making the meal everyone expects. Perhaps that's the problem. She was quiet. You want me to fail? She said. No. You want everyone to compare it to yours. I want to sit down at 2 o'clock with a bottle of wine and watch, eat. Ellen, please. Can we not turn Thanksgiving into another boundary demonstration? I stood and carried my coffee cup to the sink. I'm not demonstrating anything. I'm telling you what I'm willing to do, which is almost nothing. I'm willing to come. Fine. The word landed like a slammed cabinet. Fine, she repeated. Bring wine. She ended the call. I set my phone on the counter and told myself I had done well. An hour later, Guilt arrived carrying recipes. I pulled out the box where I kept holiday cards stained with butter and vanilla. My stuffing recipe was written in Jack's handwriting because I had been elbow deep in the turkey the year we finally measured everything. At the bottom, he had added, more sage. Ellen is timid with sage. I sat at the table and cried hard enough to make the ink blur. I could make the dishes. I had time. Brooke's request was not outrageous in an ordinary family. People brought food to Thanksgiving. Mothers helped daughters-in-law. Traditions mattered. But ordinary requests did not arrive in empty space. They arrived after the parking lot, after the albums, after cakes that mattered more than the woman carrying them. I put the recipes away. Nathan called that evening. Why can't you bring the stuffing? He asked. Hello to you too. Hi, Mom, how are you? Why can't you bring the stuffing? I'm fine. I don't want to. That's not a reason. It is the oldest reason. You know Brooke is stressed. Then simplify the menu. She's trying to make it nice for you. If it's for me, listen to what I'm asking for. You're asking to show up while everyone else works. Yes. He went silent. The irony was not lost on either of us. You spent your whole life saying people should contribute, he said. I changed my mind, right when Brooke is hosting, right when I learned I had confused contribution with belonging. This isn't the anniversary. It is connected. Everything is connected if you refuse to let anything go. I gripped the edge of the counter. What do you want me to let go, Nathan? One rude message. You still think it was only rude? What else was it? An instruction you allowed. Oh my God. Did you tell Brooke I wouldn't mind waiting in the car? We have been over this. You have said everything except why, because you don't mind things. His voice rose, then broke into silence. I did not speak. You always say it's fine, he continued. You always say not to fuss. You would have waited 10 minutes for me. I believed that. You were right. What? I would have. Before I saw the picture, I probably would have sat there and told myself I was helping. Then why are you acting like I should have known better? Because you should have wanted better for me than what I was willing to accept. He made a low, frustrated sound. I can't do this tonight. Neither can I. Bring whatever you want to Thanksgiving. I intend to. And arrive whenever you want. 2 o'clock. Fine. He hung up. The next afternoon, my doorbell rang. Nathan stood on the porch without containers, groceries, or an excuse. His face looked exhausted. Can I come in? He asked. I stepped aside. He entered but did not take off his coat. Brooke says if this keeps going, he said, there won't be a family left to have Thanksgiving with. Did she send you to tell me that? I asked. No. Did you agree with her? Nathan looked toward the living room where the cream roses had begun dropping petals onto the table. I don't know what I agree with anymore. That sounds exhausting. It is. I took his coat. He let me, though he still seemed ready to leave. Coffee? No. Tea? Why do you always do that? Do what? Offer things instead of talking. I hung his coat in the closet. I thought offering tea was polite. You offered Brooke cake while you were furious with her at Easter. That was 6 years ago. I remember things too. I led him into the kitchen and sat. He remained standing until I pointed at the chair across from me. "Talk," I said. He sat. "Marcy barely answers me," he began. "Brooke cries every time the anniversary comes up. You cancel dinner, then have people over without us. Now Thanksgiving is a negotiation over stuffing. That's one version. It's what happened. It leaves out the parking lot. I knew you'd say that. Then include it next time." He pressed his fingers against his temples. "I need you to meet me halfway. I came to dinner at your house. Once. I met Brooke for lunch and walked out. After an hour, you stopped Sunday supper. Yes, you let Marcy turn her birthday into a statement. No. Marcy had the birthday she wanted, at our expense. Not everything that doesn't include you happens at your expense." He leaned forward. "You don't see what you're doing. What am I doing? You're making everyone choose. Who have I asked to choose? You don't have to ask. You sit here wounded and everyone feels guilty for seeing us. I encouraged Marcy to go to Brooke's parents' house, and she left because she felt sorry for you. She left because Charlene asked if I had always been sensitive about photographs." Nathan looked away. "She told you that?" "Yes, she shouldn't have." "Why?" "Because it makes Charlene look bad? Because it keeps the whole thing alive. The whole thing is alive. Only because you feed it." My hands flattened on the table. "I feed everything, apparently. Don't twist my words. You chose them." He stood again and began pacing between the island and the dining room doorway. "Brooke feels unwelcome in this house. She was welcome here every Sunday for 15 years. She felt judged. I felt judged in the parking lot, there, that. Every conversation comes back to that one day. Because we haven't finished talking about it, what's left to say? The truth. We have told you the truth. No. You've given me explanations. Rain, schedules, a crowded lobby, Brooke's stress, my blue dress that turned out not to matter because Mark wore a navy jacket." Nathan stopped. "This is about the dress now. It was always partly about the dress. Brooke told you the shawl was fine. She told me we'd make it work. She was trying to include you. Did you see her message before I arrived?" He rubbed the back of his neck. "Which message?" "The one telling me to wait. We've talked about this." "Then the answer should be easy. She said she was going to ask you to stay in the car until they cleared the lobby. Did you see the actual message?" "Not before she sent it. Did she show you after?" "She told me what it said." "And what did you say?" "I said you'd understand." "Before or after?" "What difference does it make?" "All the difference." He turned toward the window. I watched his reflection in the dark glass. Jack used to stand that way when cornered by something emotional, as if the yard might provide an emergency exit. "When did you say I wouldn't mind?" I asked. "Before." "And after you knew exactly what she wrote?" I told her it sounded abrupt. "What did she say?" "That she didn't have time to rewrite it." And then the photographer started. "You saw my car." "Yes." "Did Brooke ask where I was?" "She knew where you were." "Did Marcy?" "No." "Did the photographer?" Nathan shook his head. "Did anyone besides you and Brooke know Nathan's mother was sitting outside?" "No." The word barely reached me. "Why not?" "Because it was supposed to be 10 minutes. Why didn't you call me? We were taking pictures. Why didn't you walk outside? It was pouring. You own a raincoat. That's not the point." "What is?" "I thought you were fine." He struck the back of the chair with his palm. The sound snapped through the kitchen. I did not move. Nathan stared at his hand, then lowered it. "You always say you're fine," he said. "You tell people not to worry about you. You make jokes. You handle things. How was I supposed to know this one time was different? Because I am your mother. That doesn't make me a mind reader. No, it should make you curious." He looked at me. I could hear the clock above the stove. One beat, then another. "When you saw me in that car," I asked, "did you think I belonged there?" His face changed. He opened his mouth, but nothing came. "I'm not asking whether you thought I was warm," I said, "or safe, or willing to wait. Did you think your mother belonged outside while you took that picture?" No. The answer was quiet. Then why did you stay? His eyes filled, and he looked down before the tears could fall. I hated myself for the relief I felt. I had finally reached him, and reaching him hurt. I don't know, he said. Yes, you do. He shook his head. Brooke was stressed. Everybody was watching. The photographer kept moving people. I thought I could fix it after. After the picture. Yes. After the thing that couldn't be repeated. It was a photograph, Mom. It was a choice. He pulled out his car keys. Don't leave, I said. He laughed without humor. You're allowed to leave. I'm asking you to stay. I can't give you what you want. What do you think I want? You want me to say I chose Brooke over you. I expect you to choose your wife. I do not expect you to let her erase me to prove it. She didn't erase you, you're still explaining, because you won't stop accusing. Then say what happened without protecting anyone. I did. No, you said you didn't know. He grabbed his coat from the closet. Nathan. He pushed one arm into the sleeve. I am not the reason the family is falling apart, I said. He turned. You ended the dinners. Yes. You turned Marcy against me. No, you're refusing to help with Thanksgiving. I offered to come as a guest. After spending your whole life insisting nobody comes empty-handed. I was wrong. You don't get to rewrite every family rule and then act surprised when nobody knows how to behave. No, I said, but all of you get to decide whether you want a relationship with me when I stop making it easy. His face crumpled for half a second before he recovered. You think we only love you because you cook. I think you're very comfortable loving me when love requires nothing from you. He opened the front door. Brooke is right, he said. You do want us to suffer. The door shut behind him. I followed as far as the living room window. Nathan sat in his car with both hands on the wheel. The porch light reflected across his windshield, hiding his face. He remained there for 7 minutes. I timed him because I had nothing else to do with my love. Then he drove away. The family group stayed silent for 2 days. On the third, Brooke posted a photograph of a table centerpiece she was considering for Thanksgiving. Nobody responded until Charlene wrote, "Lovely." I looked at the cream candles, green leaves, and little gold pumpkins. I turned off my phone. Marcy came for lunch the next day and brought sandwiches. She did not mention Nathan until we had eaten. He told me what you asked him, she said. About the car? She nodded. What did he say to you? That he froze. He didn't say that to me. He says he didn't choose. That was his exact phrase. Not choosing is still a choice, I told him. I folded the sandwich paper into smaller and smaller squares. He's miserable, Marcy said. I don't want him miserable. I know, does he? Not right now. I stared at the crumbs on the table. Are you going to Thanksgiving? She asked. I said I would. Do you still want to? No. That's different from whether you're going. Yes. Mom, don't stay away to prove something. I don't know how to sit at Brooke's table while everybody pretends we aren't bleeding underneath it. We could survive one meal. I've survived many meals. That sounded dramatic. I'm learning from Nathan. Marcy smiled, but her eyes remained worried. Tell me what to do, she said. I can't. If you don't go, I don't want you alone. That is not your responsibility. You're my mother. Yes, not your assignment. She picked at the edge of her sandwich wrapper. I hate this, she said. So do I. That evening, I called Brooke. I don't think I should come Thursday, I said. She was silent for several seconds. Is this about the food? No. Did Nathan tell you not to come? No. Then why? Because the three of us cannot sit through a holiday pretending everything is normal. I wasn't planning to pretend. What were you planning? A meal, with assigned seats and a centerpiece. Is having a centerpiece offensive now? No, because I don't know the rules anymore, Ellen. There aren't rules. There are. You just don't tell anyone until they break one. I closed my eyes. That may have been true before, I said. I'm telling you now, I'm not ready to be in your home for Thanksgiving, so I'm the one being punished. No, I'm the one missing Thanksgiving. People will blame me. I'll tell them it was my decision. They'll still blame me. I can't manage what they think. You managed what they thought when you drove away with the cakes. The cruelty came out fast. Brooke inhaled sharply. I'm sorry, she said. It was the first apology from her without a condition attached. Neither of us knew what to do with it. I think staying home is best, I said. Fine. Her voice had gone thin. I hope the meal goes well. I'm sure that will be very comforting while I make your stuffing from an online recipe. I can send you mine. No, thank you. This time, she ended the call. I wrote in the family group that I had decided to spend Thanksgiving quietly and hoped everyone enjoyed the day. Marcy objected privately. Nathan did not respond at all. Loretta arrived 10 minutes after I told her. You're coming to my house, she announced. I am not. Evelyn is bringing sweet potatoes. Paul is bringing pie, which is alarming but legal. You can bring nothing. I don't want to intrude. There will be 4 widowed people, 1 divorced dentist, and a turkey breast shaped like a doorstop. There is nothing left to intrude upon. I'll think about it. No, you'll come at 2. The time caught in my throat. Loretta softened. You can sit in your car if you want, she said, but I'm bringing your plate outside. I might prefer that, I said. Then I'll bring an umbrella. You don't own a functioning umbrella. I'll use Paul. He has broad shoulders and needs purpose. At 1:45 on Thanksgiving, I stood in my kitchen wearing a rust-colored sweater and holding nothing. It felt obscene. My pecan pie recipe sat in the drawer. The sweet potatoes remained in the grocery store. I had bought wine, then put it back on the shelf because Loretta had said to bring nothing, and I was trying to respect an invitation without improving it. I walked through the house checking things that did not need checking. The stove was off. The back door was locked. Jack's silver knife remained in the drawer where it belonged on a day nobody had requested it. At 1:58, I forced myself outside. Loretta opened her door before I knocked. Empty-handed, she said. I'm proud and suspicious. I have antacids in my purse. That counts as medical preparedness, not hosting. Her dining table was covered with a red cloth patterned with enormous orange leaves. None of the napkins matched. One place setting had a soup spoon, even though there was no soup. Evelyn stood at the stove mashing sweet potatoes with the intensity of someone punishing them for ecological vanity. Ruth, another woman from the garden club, was opening a can of cranberry sauce. She had lost her husband 2 years before and spoke of him almost entirely through complaints about the tools he had left in the garage. Paul arrived carrying a pie in a ceramic dish. Loretta narrowed her eyes. You baked? Yes. Where? My kitchen. With what? Ingredients. What kind? Pie ingredients. She lifted the edge of the crust with a butter knife and found a strip of aluminum beneath it. Supermarket, she announced. Paul took off his coat. I transferred it. You plated a pie. Presentation matters. You're learning proportion, I said. He pointed at me. Thank you. The turkey breast was not shaped like a doorstop. It was shaped like a football and nearly as firm. Loretta carved it with an electric knife that sounded like road construction. Don't say anything, she warned me. I wasn't. You were leaning forward. I was prepared to catch it if it escaped. We ate at 2:23. Nobody apologized for the delay. The sweet potatoes were too sweet, the turkey required gravy, and Paul's transferred pie tasted exactly like the supermarket. It was one of the easier meals I had attended in years. That did not make it painless. At 3, my phone buzzed beside my plate. Brooke had posted a photograph of her table in the family group. The centerpiece looked exactly like the picture she had shared earlier. Cream candles, green leaves, small gold pumpkins. Each place had a handwritten card. Mine was not there. Of course it wasn't. I had told her not to expect me. Still, I enlarged the photograph and searched the table as though my name might be hidden behind a glass. Loretta saw. Do you need a minute? She asked. No. Take one anyway. I stepped onto her back porch. The air smelled like wet leaves and chimney smoke. My phone showed several messages. Marcy had written, "Miss you." Charlene had posted, "Beautiful job, Brooke." A cousin had added, "Ellen, hope you're having a relaxing day." Nathan had said nothing. I replied to Marcy, "Miss you too. I hope dinner is good." She called immediately. "Where are you?" she asked. "At Loretta's. How is it?" "Paul rehomed a supermarket pie. Is that legal?" "Barely." She laughed. Behind her, I heard plates and conversation. Brooke asked someone whether they wanted more gravy. "How's the meal?" I asked. "Actually good." That sounded surprised. I was. "Did the turkey cook through?" "Yes." Brooke checked it 17 times. And the stuffing. Nathan made it. He did? He found Dad's version online somewhere. The recipe Jack had written was still in my drawer, but years earlier I had emailed it to Nathan for a company potluck he ultimately skipped. How was it? Too much sage. I closed my eyes. Your father would approve. Brooke's father said it tasted like a candle. That is also possible. Marcy grew quiet. "You could still come for dessert," she said. "No." "Mom, I'm having dessert here. Paul's stolen pie?" "Transferred." "He set a place for you," she said. "Who?" "Nathan. He put an extra chair in the den and said we could move it in if you changed your mind." The image hurt more than an empty place card. "I won't," I said. "I know. Did he ask you to call?" "No, he's avoiding me." "I'm sorry." "Are you?" "Yes." There was a pause. "Happy Thanksgiving," she said. "Happy Thanksgiving." When I returned to the table, nobody asked what had happened. Ruth passed me the gravy. Paul cut the pie into pieces so uneven that Evelyn accused him of creating a class system. I laughed until I cried, which allowed everyone to pretend the tears came from laughter. At home that night, the quiet felt different from Sunday quiet. Holiday silence had weight. It occupied Jack's chair, the staircase, the empty oven. I placed my purse on the counter and saw a fleck of dried gravy on my sleeve. Then I cried without pretending. I cried because I had missed Nathan's first Thanksgiving stuffing, because Brooke had made a successful meal without me, because Marcy had wanted me at 2 tables, and I had chosen the one where nobody needed me. I cried because the choice had been right and still felt terrible. At 10:30, Nathan sent a message. "Hope you had a nice day." I stared at it for a long time. I did. I hope you did too. He responded with a thumbs up. Nothing in language is colder than a son's thumbs up. The family did not collapse after Thanksgiving. It did something more ordinary. It adjusted. Brooke and Nathan saw her parents. Marcy divided her time according to mood rather than habit. I joined the planter committee and discovered Evelyn believed meeting agendas should include estimated argument times. I spoke to Nathan once a week, sometimes twice. The conversation stayed near the surface. He asked about Loretta. I asked about the kitchen leak. Neither of us touched the question he had left unanswered. Brooke sent me a photograph of the Thanksgiving table after everyone had gone. The candles had burned low. Dirty glasses stood beside the centerpiece. "It went well," she wrote. "I wish it had been different." "So did I replied. I did not know whether we meant the same thing. The first cold rain of December arrived on a Thursday afternoon. I was upstairs changing the guest room sheets when I heard a car door. Through the window, I saw Nathan's car parked at the curb. He did not get out. I finished putting the pillowcases on. I carried the old sheets downstairs and placed them in the laundry room. When I looked again, he was still behind the wheel. Rain ran over his windshield, blurring his face. 10 minutes passed. I knew because I looked at the stove clock. At 15 minutes, I put on shoes and opened the front door. Nathan saw me. He made no move. I walked to the end of the porch without an umbrella. "You don't have to wait in the car," I called. He covered his face with both hands. For a moment, I thought he was laughing. Then his shoulders shook. I went down the steps. He opened the door before I reached him. "Come inside," I said. "I'm getting your driveway wet. That's where rain goes." He followed me into the house. Water darkened his coat. I hung it in the foyer, and this time he did not object when I made tea. He sat at the kitchen table with both hands wrapped around the mug. "I'm sorry I didn't call on Thanksgiving," he said. "I know." "No, you don't." "All right. I was angry you weren't there. Then I was angry there was an extra chair. Then I was angry at myself for putting it out because I knew you wouldn't come. I sat across from him. The stuffing had too much sage, I said. His mouth trembled. Dad wrote more sage. Your father had reckless beliefs about herbs. Nathan looked into his tea. I've been thinking about your question. I did not ask which one. When I saw you in the parking lot, he said, I knew you shouldn't be there. The clock ticked above the stove. I knew before the photographer took the first picture. Brooke showed me the message after she sent it. I said it sounded bad, and she said she didn't have time to manage everybody's feelings. I told her you'd understand. He swallowed. Then I saw your car. I thought about coming outside. Why didn't you? Brooke reached for me. The photographer was calling people. Her mother was already upset about the rain. I thought if I walked out, Brooke would be embarrassed in front of everyone. So you stayed? Yes. And looked at me? Yes. His eyes finally met mine. I told myself I would fix it after the picture. I'd bring you in, make a joke, carry the cakes. You'd roll your eyes and we'd be fine. You thought I would rescue you from what you chose. Yes. The honesty was almost unbearable. He pressed his palms flat against the table. I didn't freeze, Mom. That's what I told Marcy because it sounded less ugly. I made a decision. I decided Brooke's embarrassment would be harder to deal with than your hurt. Tears slipped down his face. He did not wipe them. I let you become the person we could inconvenience, he said, because you always forgave me. I reached across the table, then stopped before touching his hand. Nathan looked at the space between us. I am sorry, he said. Not that you felt excluded, not that the message sounded bad. I'm sorry I saw my mother sitting outside and chose to stay in the picture. I had wanted those words for months. Now that they were here, they did not repair anything. They simply made the damage visible to both of us. I do forgive you, I said. Hope moved across his face, but forgiveness does not put us back where we were. I know, Nathan said. Hope did not disappear from his face so much as settle into something less demanding. What does forgiveness do then? It lets us start from here. And where is here? You're sitting at my table. You told me the truth. Neither of us is pretending it didn't happen. He stared into his tea. I miss Sunday dinner. So do I. You're not bringing it back. No. Ever? I may invite you to dinner. I may invite everyone. But I don't want a standing appointment that makes me responsible for proving we're still a family every week. You never had to prove that. I thought I did. He looked toward the stove, the cabinets, all the familiar things I had used to make myself indispensable. Were you unhappy the whole time? He asked. No. That's what makes it complicated. I smiled a little. I loved feeding you. I loved knowing everybody would be here. I also used the work to avoid admitting when I was lonely or angry. Both things can be true. Nathan nodded. I loved coming, he said, and I took it for granted. Both things can be true. That sounds suspiciously mature. Don't tell Marcy. She'll sense it. He rubbed his thumb along the rim of the mug. What do I do now? You stop asking for one grand assignment. I like assignments. I know. Can I come next Sunday? If you want. Are you cooking? No. What will we eat? Possibly nothing. He considered this. I could bring sandwiches. You could. Is that an assignment? It's a sandwich. His laugh was wet and uneven, but it was real. The rain continued while we talked. Not about the anniversary. Not after that. Nathan told me Brooke had nearly thrown the Thanksgiving stuffing into the yard after her father compared it to a candle. I told him Paul had transferred a supermarket pie into a ceramic dish and expected admiration. When he finished his tea, he carried both mugs to the sink. You can leave those, I said. Nathan looked over his shoulder. That's how this whole thing started. You washing 2 mugs? Everybody letting you do everything. He washed them badly, leaving a line of tea inside one. I did not correct him until after he left. The following Sunday, he arrived with sandwiches and no announcement. He brought turkey for himself and grilled vegetables for me, though I had never told him I disliked deli turkey. We ate at the kitchen table from paper wrappers. He did not mention Brooke until I asked, "How is she?" Angry with me. For coming here? For telling her I lied to Marcy about freezing. What did she say? That I made her carry all the blame because I wanted to look weak instead of selfish. That sounds like Brooke. She's not wrong. No. He picked a pepper out of his sandwich. She knows I apologized. How does she feel about that? She said it was about time. I raised my eyebrows. She also said she wasn't ready, he added. To apologize? To come here. That is her choice. I thought you'd be mad. I am a little. Mom, I'm allowed. Right. After lunch, he stayed for another hour. He did not repair anything, ask for a recipe, or take home food. He sat in Jack's chair and showed me photographs of an office holiday display shaped like a coffee cup. When he left, the house felt empty. It did not feel abandoned. Nathan began coming every week or two. Sometimes he called first. Sometimes he stood on the porch looking uncertain until I opened the door. He cooked in my kitchen one evening because he wanted to learn pot roast. He used too much wine, not enough salt, and every utensil I owned. When he asked what I thought, I told him the truth. It needs another hour. We've already waited 3. The cow had plans. He ordered pizza. The roast was excellent the next day. Brooke waited until January to call. I'd like to come over, she said, alone. All right, I don't want Nathan there. I understood alone. And I'm not bringing flowers. I still have the vase. That's not why. I know. She arrived on a cold Saturday carrying only her purse. She wore jeans and a black coat, no cream or sage anywhere. I offered coffee. She accepted. We sat in the living room instead of the kitchen. Brooke chose the sofa. I sat in Jack's chair, which felt like borrowing authority from a dead man, so I moved to the other end of the sofa. Brooke noticed, but said nothing. I owe you a better apology, she began. I'm listening. I've practiced this about 20 times, and every version sounds like I'm trying to get a result. What result? Forgiveness. Dinner. Nathan sleeping through the night. Is he having trouble? He wakes up at 3 and stares at the ceiling as if it personally disappointed him. That also sounds like his father. Brooke smiled briefly, then folded her hands. The text was not an accident, she said. The wording was rushed, but the decision wasn't. My chest tightened even though I already knew. I wanted the first pictures to be my family, she continued. My parents, my sisters, and Nathan. When Marcy arrived, the photographer put her in, and I let it happen because asking her to step out would have looked rude. But asking me to wait didn't. I didn't have to watch your face when I sent the message. The honesty was ugly and clean. I told myself you preferred helping, she said. I told myself you didn't care about photographs. Nathan told me you would understand, and I used that as permission even after I knew the message sounded cruel. Why the car? Because if you came inside, somebody would ask why you weren't in the picture. She looked directly at me. And because I knew if I asked you in person, I couldn't do it. I felt the old impulse to rescue her from her own confession. I kept my hands in my lap. I resented you, she said. Not all the time, not even most of the time, but I resented how easily you occupied the center of Nathan's family. Your house, your food, your traditions, Jack's stories. I wanted one picture that said my side mattered just as much. You could have taken that picture without excluding me from every picture being taken at the time. I know. You could have told me the plan before I drove there. I know. You could have left the cakes and albums out of it. I know. Her eyes filled, but her voice remained steady. The worst part is, I wanted the things you brought. I wanted Nathan's history without having to make room for the person carrying it. I looked toward the dining room. The anniversary photo box remained upstairs in the guest room. I had not opened it since the storm. "I am sorry," Brooke said. "I'm sorry I told you to wait in the car. I'm sorry I watched Nathan leave you there. I'm sorry I cared more about controlling the picture than what it said about us." No explanation followed, no request. "Thank you," I said. She blinked, perhaps expecting more. "I'm also sorry," I continued, "for the ways I made you feel like a guest at my table after 15 years. You don't have to do that, I know. I didn't come for a shared apology. This isn't shared, it's mine." Brooke looked down. "I corrected you before you could do things your own way," I said. "Then I told myself you didn't help. I made traditions feel like rules. I can see why you wanted something that belonged to you. That doesn't justify what I did. No." We sat with that. "Does this mean we're okay?" she asked eventually. "No." Her face tightened, but she nodded. "It means I believe you're sorry," I said. "Being okay will take behavior. I don't know what behavior you want. Neither do I yet." She exhaled. "I hate that answer. I imagine you do." A laugh escaped her. I laughed too. Before she left, she paused beside the dining room table. "Are the albums still here?" "Upstairs." "Nathan wanted that photograph of Jack so badly. He can come look at it." "Will you let me come too?" The question was careful. "Yes." They came the following week. Marcy joined us, and the four of us sat on the guest room floor turning pages. Nathan found the picture of Jack in the brown suit. "He looks angry," Brooke said. "He thought serious expressions made him look taller," I told her. "They did not," Marcy said. Nathan held the photograph by its edges. "Can I make a copy?" "Of course." He did not ask to take the original. The family did not return to what it had been. Sunday supper stayed gone. Nathan hosted sometimes. Marcy invited us separately when she wanted separate company, and together when she was willing to tolerate the risk. Brooke began bringing food without asking me how it should be served. The first dish was an under-seasoned potato casserole. I ate it before adding salt. I hosted when I wanted to. The first dinner was in March, 6 months after the anniversary. I invited everyone 3 days in advance and ordered takeout. Nathan looked at the cartons. "You're not cooking." "I invited you to dinner." I didn't promise performance art. Brooke brought flowers and put them on the table without moving anything else. Loretta continued dragging me to garden club. Evelyn and I finished the senior center planners, though Paul objected to our choice of grasses on proportional grounds. I sometimes spent Sunday evenings alone. I still disliked it around 6:30. My 70th birthday fell on a warm Saturday in May. When Nathan asked what I wanted, I said lunch at my house because the hydrangeas were beginning to bloom. "Do you want to cook?" he asked. "No." Good answer. He arranged everything: sandwiches from the good deli, Marcy's preferred wine, Brooke's salad, and a bakery cake with lemon filling. Loretta came wearing her reading glasses on the corrupt art dealer chain. I wore the blue dress. Not as a statement, at least not entirely. It still fit, and when I looked in the mirror, I heard Jack saying, "There she is." Everyone arrived at noon. Nobody asked me to chop, heat, carry, or find anything. This left me so restless that I reorganized the napkins until Marcy took them away. Before Nathan uncovered the food, he pulled out his phone. "Picture first," he said. Brooke looked at me. "Only if you want one." "I do." We stood near the open doors facing the garden. Nathan tried to arrange us, failed, and handed the phone to Brooke. "I have a timer," she said. She balanced it on the mantel and hurried back. For a moment, she hovered at the edge of the group. I reached for her hand. The timer flashed. In the photograph, Nathan was blinking. Marcy was laughing at something Loretta had said. Brooke was still moving toward me, her fingers wrapped around mine. The garden behind us was too bright, and half of Paul's borrowed folding chair appeared in one corner. My blue dress drew the eye immediately. For once, no one asked me to change it.